Deep in the darkness, I'm raising my nails up to the light. Sushing into raindrops falling from the sky that become like blood streaming down my cheeks. The tears keep pouring out. No home for me to go. I'll run to no place for me to return. Come take me by the hand if you follow my command. Your fingers lace mine. Flames seek and ye shall find. Where the loud cicadas cry in the forest black as night. Keep running through the dark. You can never return. One then another, they're all disappearing in the there in the darkness, that goes on forever. Nevermore will the sun. In the mirror I can see the reflection of countless squirming hands. They're reaching out for me. Ah, somebody please come find me. Now it will soon be your turn. Hey, you ain't no only son. Come and catch me if you can. And when you're running away, with a clap I'll make you stay. Where the loud cicadas cry, where the tracks ahead all die. I cannot hear the sounds of your voice anymore. Come take me by the hand if you follow my command. Your fingers lace with mine. Flames seek and ye shall find. Where the loud cicadas cry in the forest black as night. Keep running through the dark. You can never return. And on the side, come and catch me if you can. And when you're running away, with a clap I'll make you stay. Where the loud cicadas cry, where the tracks ahead all die. I cannot hear the sounds of your voice anymore.
Well, happy Sunday, everybody. Well, I say happy Sunday. I have a feeling we're going to be watching some very messed up stuff tonight, just given the context of all of everything this has been leading up to. But strap in. This is going to be an interesting stream regardless. How's everyone doing tonight? Hello, X-Dude. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Proxima. Welcome to you all. Nervous for Rika? I'm nervous for everybody not named Shion, honestly. This is gonna be a rough one. Happy torture time. Well, that's a new sentence that just got unlocked. Can confidently say I've never heard anybody say that to me before. Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad you have cake, Shirley. That will hopefully help. I myself am wrapped in a blanket while playing this, just to keep warm, but also because I'll probably need some comfort. Oh my. This is gonna be an interesting one. Let's just strap in. We're either going to have 2 really long streams, or we're going to have 3 regular-sized streams, because I think we have 6 more chapters. So, We're either going to have to go for 2 for 3 streams or 3 for 2 streams. Which is weird, because I feel like there shouldn't be that much left in the chapter. Like, we've clearly set it up. We're clearly tying this into what happened during Chapter 2. So, how much more is there? Because it feels like there's a straight path forward. But I guess it's Higurashi, so it's never quite that simple. You're curious, why would Shion kill Rika? What did she even do? Well, I don't know if you've noticed this, Shirley, but Shion's not exactly operating on all 4 cylinders. She's a little crazy. But I can think of 2 very easy ways why she would want to kill Rika. Number 1, she's the leader of one of the 3 families. And she's already kind of blaming the 3 families for the demoning away and the incidents. And so she might be like, you are part of Satoshi and the reason why he's gone. The other reason is that she is friends with and protects Satoko, and I know Shion is going to kill Satoko with, for a variety of reasons. But maybe she's just like, I hate you because you were abused and caused Satoshi to be abused too. It's like, yeah. Anyways, welcome back to Chapter 5 of Higurashi When They Cry. I have a feeling we're going to be watching people get tortured tonight. If you can't handle that, I understand. But also, you are a bit of a wuss, so I'm just kidding. Anybody who has to look away, I won't blame. It's not for everybody. I don't like this stuff either, but... Rena, don't act so surprised that I don't like watching people get tortured. This shouldn't be, shouldn't exactly be a controversial thing to think, I wouldn't say. Alright, we got... Okay. Rena looks genuinely worried in the original and console, but here she looks embarrassed, like, oh man! Oh, you caught me sending love letters to Keiichi, and Keiichi's like, oh man, what do I even do with this? Let's go with the original art style for a little bit, why not?
みーちゃんもなんだか寝不足な感じだよ。だよ。
Yeah, you could say that, Rena.
寝たの3時くらいだからね。眠い。
3時？おいおい。夜更かしにも限度ってもんがあるぞ。
I don't know how to tell you this, Keiichi, but I didn't fall asleep and go to bed until like 4 on Friday. I also woke up at 5:40 in the morning, so I almost was up for 24 hours on Friday.
大方、漫画の単行本が面白くなっちゃって、一巻から読破してしまったんだろう。
Sure. I definitely wasn't doing anything else.
俺にも経験があるぞ。
あれ、ひょっとして村長さんのこと？
Why does OG Rena have such that adorable look on her? Oh, she looks so worried.
まだ見つかってないの？
I went to the Furaday Shrine to join the youth group in search of the mayor. Since I knew there was no way he would be found, it was really boring for me. Well, just enduring sleepiness, that wasn't that bad. Not if you considered what Kimiyoshi had to go through since last night. He had been hanging from the ceiling and couldn't even fall asleep or sit down since he had to stay on his tiptoes the whole time. You are terrible. Uh-oh. Okay, we're going back. We're going back to remake. Teacher can only exist in the remake art style. The teacher explained to us that the mayor had gone missing and asked if we knew anything. No, of course not. A couple people said some things, but they were irrelevant. To me, this issue meant nothing, but it was all my classmates were talking about. I observed Keiichi Maebara. Yes, you did. I had no idea if any type of danger was drawing closer to him. Maybe I'd call him again tonight pretending to be Shion. I told him some outrageous stuff last night, so he panicked. But I was sure he'd calm down after a day. At that time, I heard a little girl's laughter. It was Rika Furaday. Yeah, I think this is when Keiichi tells Rika about what he did. And she's like, leave it to me, I'll take care of it. And then we kidnap her and Satoko and then kill them both. The last survivor of the Furaday family and their current head. However, she wasn't really treated as one. During the family councils, she'd often draw pictures or take a nap in the hag's bed. And Oreo puts up with that? She wasn't even invited to last night's meeting. It was hard to believe such a little girl was responsible for part of the curse system. However, even though she wasn't in a respected position as the head of the Furaday family, there were plenty of old people who worshipped her as the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. I'd heard from someone that Rika Furude was rather odd, and seemed to behave as if she knew that she was that reincarnation. Maybe Takano-san had told me that at the library when she was alive. When Rika Furude became worried about something, the elderly people who worshipped her would make arrangements. It was very similar to the Sonozaki family, and it was also the same system as used for the curse. I wonder, does Rika Furude know anything about the depths of Takano-san and Tomatake-san? What does she think of people sneaking into the ritual storehouse? Does she know who snuck in and what happened to those people? You have a prediction? Shion is going to freak out on Rika like she did to Satoko a year ago outside? Oh, quite possibly. Because you remember Rika crying when Keiichi talks to her? I don't remember that, but also, that happened a while ago. As the one managing the storehouse, it was possible that she noticed the intruders first. In fact, she was the only one who could have noticed it. She must have passed on that information, which is why the curse was executed. That foolish Keiichi turned the light on when we went into the ritual storehouse. That light switch could have been connected to some kind of an alarm. Rika Furude, the leader of the Furude family. Maybe getting to know her would be a good idea. Shion is remarkably calm.
フルデ家当主として今回の件はどこまで知ってるの？
I was gonna say, Shion is remarkably calm considering she's like trapped, killed, and tortured people in her basement already. Hey girl. Hey Rika. I asked her rather directly. It was hard to tell if she understood I was asking her in place of the Sonozaki family head, instead of as Mion Sonozaki.
富武たちのことですか？
Rika answered. The news hadn't been made public, yet she knew about it. Although she looked immature, perhaps she truly was the head of the Furude family.
お社様のたたりなのですよ。
そんなのは分かってるよ。
You interrupted me. I'm sorry, sometimes you take long pauses in between your voices, so I thought that you were done talking.
ならまだ終わってないよね。あと2人残っている。その2人はどうなるか聞いてる？
I tried to be vague, to see how Rika Furude would react. I had been thinking that she had nothing to do with the underside of Hinamizawa, since she was always treated like a child. However, Rika had just said things about the incident which normal people shouldn't know anything about. Here's an interesting topic. If Rika already has predetermined knowledge about what's going to happen, does she know that we are Shion right now? And does she know what we're doing? And she's just kind of powerless to stop it? That will be interesting. That proved that she belonged to the Underside's network.
別にどうでもいいと思いますですよ。
She answered the question about Tomatake-san and Takano-san fairly quickly, but took a little longer to answer this time. Did she have to think about it? You didn't answer right away. You had to think about it first, didn't you? Shit. The look on her face never changes. It's impossible to figure out what she's thinking.
どうでもいいってことはないでしょ。それじゃあけじめにならないのは分かってる？
僕はちゃんと反省したならそれでいいと思いますです。
Her response was unexpected, especially after seeing all the old people get so furious last night. You bet she does know it's Shion, but does not know what's going to happen, or at least not yet. Possibly. To trespass in the ritual storehouse was a blasphemy against Oyashiro-sama. The village elders had said those intruders deserved to die. Yet the leader of the Furude family, who protected the sacred storehouse for ritual implements, said that if they felt remorse for it, then it was fine. I recalled how people thought of Rika Furude's father during the dam conflict. Yes. Her father was called an opportunist back then. He didn't agree with the Onikafuji Guardians, who had resisted violently during the conflict. Like father, like daughter. Okay, Rika, you know, that creeped me out a little bit. Was not expecting you to get so close. It's the eyes, man. What happens in the... So she doesn't get closer in the OG art style. I do really like OG Rika, only when she's in the school outfit, though. Okay, this is a little more frightening. Rika, okay, man, Rika looks so different across the 3 different art styles, I would say. Maybe it's just the hair, but, like, this looks very different from this, which looks very different from this. Is it just me? Like, it really feels like she's just piercing right into your soul in this one. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, never. I should have read this. I aggressively grabbed Rika Furude by the collar. She's not being creepy. We are.
はあ？何をひよったことを言ってんだか。
Rika's remarkably calm about this.
フルデ家は先代もあんたもつくづく甘ったるいね。あんたたちフルデ家が西宮殿がいかに神聖で不可侵な聖域か一番理解してなくちゃならないんだよ。そのフルデ家の仮にも当主が何を甘ったるいことを言ってるわけ。
I laughed at myself. I was told the same thing by someone else and was now saying it to Rika.
西宮殿を犯した罪がどれほどの大罪か理解してないわけじゃないんでしょ。
西宮殿はお社様の大切な場所なのです。勝手に入ったりとかしちゃダメなとこなのです。
分かってるじゃない。そこに汚れを持ち込んだんだよ、あの4人は。
悪い猫さんなのです。
What?
にゃー。
そうだね、悪い猫だ。2匹は捕まえてお仕置きした。あと2匹いる。
にゃー。
どう
Wow.
けじめをつけるべきだろうね。フルデ家当主のご意見を聞かせてよ。
Rika really didn't usually wear any expression whatsoever, making it impossible to tell what she was thinking. But while I grabbed her by the collar and stared at her, I could tell somehow. Rika was a little disturbed. I sensed she was trying to see what I was thinking in turn. Yeah, she's probably disturbed because you're grabbing her by the collar, which is weird.
僕は2匹の猫さんは許してあげたいです。
Yeah, didn't Keiichi explain it to her in that way? Or she compared it in that way?
それでけじめになると思ってんの？
けじめって言葉が僕にはよくわからないです。
ああ、いい質問だね。じゃあお勉強しよう。けじめってのはね、罪をあがなうってことなの。
Why are you acting this way, Shion? If she's like, I want to forgive them, and you did it, why wouldn't you be like, oh, alright. Do you really think Meon would be this aggressive? Why, what am I saying? She's crazy.
罪は残せない。お社様のお怒りを放置することになるんだからね。だから罪の大きさに比例したけじめで罪を清めなければならないの。わかるよね？
お社様は別に西宮殿を見られても怒らないのですよ。
Are you saying that because you're claiming to be Oyashiro-sama?
はあ？あんた何言ってんの？
あの中を見ちゃダメなのはあの中に怖い道具がいっぱいあるからなのです。
Oh, is this one of those things where it's like, it's tradition that nobody's allowed to do this, and like nobody really knows why, but they treat it super seriously, then it's like, oh, the actual reason is like really dumb. Where it's like, why do you, like, what's the story where it's like, why do you like cut the like beef like tenderloin in half before you put it in the pan? And it's like, well, that's because that's the way my mother taught me to do it. It's like you talk to the mother, like, why do you do that? It's like, well, that's the way like your grandma taught me to do it. And then you talk to the grandma, it's like, why do you do that? And she's like, you don't have a bigger pan yet? Because like she originally cut it because it wouldn't fit in the pan, but it's like treated as like this thing you have to do. Ah, good times, good times. Shion forgetting that Rika's technically the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, the god, is angry. I mean, it's the legend that Rika is the reincarnation. It's not actually explicitly stated or not.
見るときっと怖がる人もいると思いますのです。だから誰にも見せないようにしてあるのですよ。
Turn it into a tourist attraction.
見た人もきっと怖かったと思います。
The stuff is pretty creepy. Only when like Takano's there to be like, by the way, this is how they use this tool to rip out the intestines of people and drift it down the river. And then they ate it.
だから反省してると思いますのです。
反省してるから許されるって。あんたが決めることじゃないでしょ。それはお社様が決めること。
僕はお社様の巫女ですよ。
True.
そんなことは知ってるよ。じゃあ何さ、あんたはお社様に怒ってませんよって直接声を聞いて確認したとでも言うわけ。
Rika nodded yes without hesitation. Rika, are you actually conversing with demons? Are you actually Oyashiro-sama, or are you just completely like messing with us, being like, yeah, drop it? I can't believe the lies she's coming up with. I'm not surprised. I'm shocked.
あんたらフルデ家がそんなざまだから、あんたの両親は一昨年のたたりで死んじゃったんだよ。お社様に仕える資格がないとお怒りを受けてね。
That is completely over the line, Shion. Although you have no problem crossing the lines.
それであんたの父親をたたり殺したんだよ。
お社様はそんなことしないのです。お父様はお社様のたたりで死んだんじゃないのです。
こんなのが最後の古出家の巫女だとはね。お社様が心を安らかにできないのがよくわかるよ。
I want Shion to see clairvoyant Rika with like the much deeper voice.
お社様をお祭りする古出家の人間でありながら嘆かわしい。
ミーが何を怒っているのか僕にはよくわからないのですよ。
Rika's a real winner, man. I love how she's just very calm despite she's like, you're just acting so weird. I realized. She was in a position to know as much as the other two family heads. As proof, she talked about this year's incident as though it was nothing. Yet she could feign ignorance with a serious face. She sure is something. In Rika's defense, you would definitely believe her that the god isn't malicious. We'll see about that. She's even better than me. It's possible that people, like, twisted the teachings or whatever, but... I mean, it's supposed to be a demon. Demons aren't good. I slapped her a few times and pushed her to the floor. Oh, you called it, Shirley! Rika, having tumbled downward, looked up at me with tears in her eyes.
そもそもあんたが西宮殿の鍵が重いから簡単なものに付け替えたいって言い
Shion
出
is
したの
just
が事の
the
発端な
ultimate
んだよ
victim
ね。
blamer. She's like, this happened because you changed the lock so that you could actually open it. It's not my fault for doing bad things.
そうですよ。
That's Rika's crying face, apparently. They couldn't program a Rika crying face?
硬くて僕では大変だったので君吉に相談して簡単な鍵に付け替えてもらったのです。
あんたがその程度の手間を惜しまず頑丈な施錠をそのまま残していたなら西宮殿への侵入を許さなかったかもしれない。
Shion is the worst.
今回の一件はそれを忘れない方がいいよ。
Are you really going to torture her to death just because she changed the lock? To make it easier for her to open it?
もちろ
Are you
ん
that insane?
あんたと一緒に鍵を付け替えた君吉家当主に
Are you gonna
責
kill
任
him
が
for
ある
doing
んだ
that
けどね。
too? The last part was something I added on a whim. I added it to connect Rika's story to the disappearance of Kimiyoshi. I wanted to pressure her psychologically by doing so.
君吉家当主はけじめをつけてもらうことになった。だから消えた。古出家当主にもけじめをつけてもらうことになるよ。
You're the worst. Rika was still on the floor, tears pouring down her cheeks. You could have fooled me.
あと残ってるのは前原圭一だけ。こいつは古出家の方で頼むことにする。
僕は何もわかんないのですよ。
別にあんたは分かんなくてもいいでしょ。憂慮したり困った顔をするだけでいいんだから。
You bet Kimiyoshi's already dead? That's entirely possible. He can't be on his tiptoes forever. He's also very old. So, yeah. That would be horrible.
それはうちも同じ。とにかく。
そんなの。
Rika hung her head. She seemed to want to say something, but she was afraid that I might be rough with her again. I doubted Rika Furude was actually at the top of the curse system like the hag was. However, as one of the three family heads, she was a lot closer to the underside of Hinamizawa than I was. By now, that underside was well aware of Keiichi Maebara. I told the elderly leaders of the village yesterday in the meeting that Keiichi Maebara was the last one remaining. I just told the head of the Furude family the same thing, if threateningly. If my threat was effective, the curse of Oyashiro-sama would very soon fall upon Keiichi Maebara. And at just the right time, I would grab my enemy right as he took my bait. If the assassin came from the Furude family, this girl would have committed the same sin as the hag. When that time came, I wouldn't hold back. I was going to make sure she suffered, and then kill her. I've heard of a torture technique where you could pound dozens of nails into a victim's fingers. You suck! Actually, no. You know what? No. We've graduated from that. You're evil! I already found a restraining table and the tools for it. When the time comes, I'll pound nails into your fingers. That gruesome anticipation radiated from my eyes and scared Rika even further. Disgusting. I wonder how Kimiyoshi is doing. He dead. I doubt he died from tiptoeing all night, but sometimes a human can go very easily. He already told me everything I wanted to hear, and he doesn't know anything else anyway. On top of that, he was responsible for spreading the infection that was the curse system of Oyashiro-sama. His sins are very heavy. I have really liked Uncle Kimiyoshi. Then why are you torturing him? He had always been kind. The hag was so tough on her relatives, and that's why he was extra nice to me. When we talked yesterday, I was so happy to hear him say that he would forgive Shion. He even said that he would fight the hag to save her. That made me very happy. Don't worry. If Shion-chan feels bad about what she's done, she won't be demoned away. Leave it to me. I felt such warmth inside of me. I almost shivered. I was so happy, yet so very sad. For he continued to say that Satoshi-kun deserved to die. He said those nice things because he wanted to make Mion happy, since she was worried about Shion. Okay, hang on. One thing I'm thinking. Is Shion's ultimate plan to, like, kill all of the people she thinks is responsible, blame it all on Mion, secretly kill Mion, and then switch and, like, pretend that she was Shion trapped in the cell the whole time so that people think that she's good? Because if so, wow, you are absolutely disgustingly evil. Satoshi-kun deserved to die because he was a member of the cursed Hojo family, but Shion-chan of the Sonozaki family did not. That's what he meant. In other words, the leaders of the village, including Kimiyoshi, members of the Hojo family, are more contemptible than insects. They didn't care if they lived or died. Their sin was not only that they despised the Hojo family so, but also that they let that hatred infect the rest of the village. Therefore, everyone in the village deserves to be a victim of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Kimiyoshi and the others created an environment that excused murder in that name. If that was so. If Takano-san and Toмотake-san hadn't committed the serious crime of trespassing in the ritual storehouse. Whoa! Wait! Who the heck is this guy? Is that the evil uncle? Why does he have a sprite now? Why does he have a sprite when he did not have one in Chapter 3? Oh, he looks terrible. They really said, alright, let's make him look as evil as possible. Bro. That's kind of crazy. Yeah. It's kind of weird that he's wearing, like, a bright red tropical, like, Hawaiian shirt. The one consistency, though, he is always smoking. Always. He also has a baseball card in his pocket. Okay, this sprite of his is probably the best. It makes him look the most blatantly evil. It's great. And then Satoko Hojo, the last survivor of the Hojo family, and Teppei Hojo, who had been hiding in Okinomiya, might have been the victims. Satoko Hojo. She was always around Satoshi-kun. She expected Satoshi-kun to help her every time she cried. She was one of the people who cornered him. If Satoko wasn't that much of a burden, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have killed his aunt. That actually kind of made me jump a little. Somebody told Satoshi-kun to commit that murder, and to hide the evidence of his connection to the mastermind, Satoshi-kun was demoned away. That's what Uisi thought. If Satoshi-kun hadn't killed his aunt, maybe he wouldn't have been chosen as the last year's victim. Because the commands were vague, after all, the curse of Oyashiro-sama fell upon the Hojo family as a whole. It didn't matter which member of the family died. His aunt had a terrible reputation in the neighborhood. She didn't communicate with her neighbors, she was always throwing fits, and there was nothing nice to say about her in any way. Even if Satoshi-kun didn't kill her, the curse would have fallen upon her sooner or later. Their aunt was the first victim. There needed to be another Hojo to calm the curse. According to a rumor, the uncle was living somewhere in Okinomiya with his lover. However, Okinomiya was a little different from Hinamizawa. The Sonozaki family was powerful there as well, of course. But it would have been more difficult in Okinomiya to demon someone away. So naturally, Satoshi-kun and Satoko, who were still in Hinamizawa, became the targets. I could not fathom the level of hatred she feels for Satoko. Just because, like, Satoshi protected her. Especially since, like, Shion, if you really loved Satoshi, he would hate you for what, like, how you treat Satoko. But no, she's not operating on all cylinders. Which one should be cursed? That was simple. Satoko, of course. She was snobby and lacking in manners. That's why everyone in the neighborhood liked Satoshi-kun. Did they? Even if he was the son of the Hojo couple who betrayed the village during the dam conflict. Compared to Satoko, he didn't deserve to die. That might be just your own insanity. Therefore, the actual victims of last year's curse should have been his aunt and Satoko. Nope. You're stupid and evil and dumb. Satoshi-kun was suddenly all alone. His mean aunt and his mean uncle were gone. His sister, who had been a burden to him all his life, was gone too. Satoshi-kun was such a nice person. He would be sad, although he'd realize he was finally free. But time would heal him. I'd even help. You are psychopathic. He didn't have to live in his house in Hinamizawa. There were plenty of empty rooms in the apartment block where I lived. I could find him a part-time job too. He didn't need to go to school in Hinamizawa. He could go to a school with me in Okinomiya instead. This is like one of the single most manipulative and psychopathic things I've ever seen. Where she's like, literally like, I should have caused all of his problems and then presented myself as the solution to his problems. It's so disgusting, man. This is terrible. He wouldn't know his way around or really anything about the school there. So I'd be with Satoshi-kun all the time. I'd show him a shortcut to school, we'd go shopping, and I'd teach him many different things. What an unbelievably happy ending. His sister would be dead. And he'd be stuck with you. That is like the worst ending I can imagine for him, pretty much. Satoshi-kun had been suffering so much, and I had been pushed away all my life. But we would finally be happy. I enjoyed these sweet delusions, but I didn't have any more time to waste. I was sure there were plenty of old people who had been trying to get a hold of Oreo all morning, and who were going to try to catch me after I got home from school. Actually, the phone had been ringing constantly while I enjoyed my happy thoughts. Those are your happy thoughts?! When I answered the phone, I casually listened and replied. As I planned, Keiichi Maibara was now known as the next curse victim within the underside of Hinamizawa. I also tried to let them know that the disappearance of the village chief had something to do with the fact that he changed the lock on the ritual storehouse's door. All the authorities in the underside came to realize the seriousness of trespassing in the storehouse. After all, one of the heads of the three families got punished. One of the phone calls was from Uisi. He had also heard about Kimiyoshi's disappearance, and he knew it had something to do with the changing of the lock. I'm impressed. He has some pretty good sources. But all he can do is catch whatever information he can get. There's no way for him to find out where it's coming from. I'd call Keiichi Maibara again later tonight. Some of the more aggressive villagers may have already started to take action around him. Does Kasai know? Isn't Kasai gonna be worried? Like, I haven't seen Shion at home in a while. I'm sure that by now Keiichi is feeling the danger of that's coming toward him. I'd have to be careful that he doesn't get killed easily. If I can catch the enemy before they bit Keiichi, I can use him again as bait. Keiichi Maibara. I haven't known him for that long. He's funny, if not intelligent. He'll never replace Satoshi-kun. But I do think he's fun to be around. There's just one thing I don't like about him. He rubs my head far too often. His hand is as warm as Satoshi-kun's hand, which is why I can't stand it. But that's about it. Keiichi Maibara isn't Satoshi-kun's enemy. I don't hate him. He's fun to be around, but I wouldn't shed a tear for him if he became the victim of the curse. Yeah, that's what we call sociopathic, or psychopathic. I won't prevent Keiichi Maibara from being killed, but I won't kill him myself either. Liar! You absolutely were going to nail his hands, like, to death, and you... Well, no, I'm pretty sure Keiichi just imagined you showing up to his bed at the end of Chapter 2. I don't think that actually happened. Her inner monologue infuriates me with how twisted she is. I'd made arrangements for the curse to fall upon him, but I never told anyone to kill him. Well, I suppose I did tell Rika Furide to take care of Keiichi Maibara. Wait a minute. To avenge Satoshi-kun, I'm doing exactly the same thing as the hag did. You're actually probably worse than her. I'm using the exact same system that killed Satoshi-kun. Keiichi Maibara. I'm just using him. I told people to let the curse fall upon Keiichi, but I've been giving him appropriate warnings. I'm going to help him if he tries to live. If I catch all my enemies. Maybe I'll let him loose. He's different from Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun was tricked into killing his aunt, and was killed himself afterwards so there wouldn't be any evidence remaining. I won't kill Keiichi Maibara. That's how I'm different from the hag. Gross, 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 gross! Oh, I hate this woman so much. Oh, hey, Ruben, welcome. Evening was turning to night. I had to get dinner ready. I had to eat so I'd have enough strength to take revenge. The place was far from town. It would even get isolated during winter because of the snow. It's not unusual for a household like this to have 2 or 3 refrigerators. There were plenty of groceries left in them. I was glad I didn't have to go grocery shopping. I could hear the chorus of the Higurashi. People often say that the sound of the Higurashi brings back memories. But for me, it's the exact opposite. I've only ever heard the sound of the Higurashi in Hinamizawa. Therefore, the sound of the Higurashi, to me, is Hinamizawa. The sound reminded me that I wasn't supposed to be here. That I couldn't be here. Oh wait, I caught a typo. It reminded me that I wasn't supposed to be here. They forgot it too in there! That's like the first typo I think I've seen. That was when I heard the doorbell. Because there was a good distance between the house and the gate, there was both a doorbell and an intercom by the ladder. It had a security camera too. Something as modern as a security camera monitor in this old-fashioned kitchen looked rather strange. I turned the switch, but nothing appeared on the monitor. I tried to check the plug, but there was a bunch of cords going out behind the refrigerator, so I couldn't even do that. The doorbell continued to ring while I tried to figure out if the monitor was broken or if I just didn't know how to turn it on. I only felt like answering the door depending on who it was. It'd normally be easier to pretend to be out, but that wouldn't help me. I was waiting for my enemies to show up. I couldn't just hide myself in that case. The hag was supposed to be sick and in an extremely bad mood. I had already sent word out that she didn't want to see anyone. So who could it be? I made up my mind and turned the intercom on. If it was someone unwanted, I would just turn whoever it was away. But I had to act normally so I wouldn't arouse suspicion. Yeah, you're great at that. I had to act normally.
はい、どちら様でしょう。
こんにちはなのです。
Oh no! This is where it's gonna start. She didn't tell me her name, but I recognized her voice.
リカちゃんか。どうしたの？こんな時間に。
I brought backup to get revenge.
実はお醤油を分けてもらいに来たのですよ。
Soy sauce? I almost screamed, but I controlled myself. I took a moment to think about the situation. Hinamizawa was far from most stores, so sometimes neighbors would share seasoning and stuff with each other. The village sometimes got snowed in during winter, but the Furde Shrine was quite far from this house. It was rather odd for her to come all the way here on her bicycle just to get some soy sauce. Maybe she was using it as an excuse. Maybe there was something she wanted to talk to me about. That was when I noticed a piece of paper that was on the refrigerator door next to the intercom. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki's house if you want some. The hag must have given that flyer to everyone. One of our relatives sent to her a barrel of soy sauce. If you want some, bring a container. That's what the flyer said. I see. This would explain it. There was a handwritten note on the bottom of the flyer. The soy sauce is in the storage area under the floor. Give them as much as they want. There was a storage area beneath the floor. When I opened it, I saw a barrel of soy sauce, alongside a funnel and a ladle. I didn't want Rika to notice anything suspicious at this point. I decided to share the soy sauce with her.
いいよ。入れるものは持ってきてるの？
お醤油の瓶を持ってきましたのです。
オッケー。勝手に入ってきていいよ。
Okay.
玄関で待ってる。
As I headed there, I heard the doorbell ring again.
みー、内側から閉まってて門が入れないのですよ。
ああ、そうだった。ごめんごめん。今開けに行くよ。待ってて。
Rika, are you just gonna ignore the fact that Shion, slapped you a bit earlier? People didn't pay much attention to safety around here in Hinamizawa. People didn't think too much about locking the doors. But as someone who's lived in a town, I always locked everything. To let Rika Furude in, I'd have to go outside.
こんばんはなのですよ。
Hey, Rika. This is so weird, because I feel like Rika looks totally different in this dress compared to her school outfit in the console art style.
こんばんは。
Rika smiled at me. She was holding a huge soy sauce bottle. She acted like I never yelled at her, got violent with her, or made her cry at all today. Or perhaps she came to curry favor, thinking she angered me. I invited Rika to the front door, and told her to wait for a moment, and tried to take the bottle. But Rika took her shoes off and walked into the house with the bottle in her hands.
いいよいいよ。私が入れてくるから待ってなよ。
僕も上後でお醤油入れるのは上手になったのですよ。
She looked at me as if begging. I guess she wanted to pour the soy sauce into the bottle herself. I didn't want her to come into the house, but I suppose I didn't want her to wait there alone either. If she came to the kitchen with me, I could keep my eyes on her. And so I brought Rika to the kitchen. We walked down the hallway. I only heard my footsteps. I stopped suddenly and turned around to make sure Rika was following me. Rika bumped into me.
ああ、ごめんごめん。
Rika, let me check your pockets. Yeah, that's right. She might have the syringe, right? I made sure she was right behind me and started to walk again. Tap, tap, tap. Tip, tip, tip. Tap, tap. Tip, tip. Rika must have been having fun matching her footsteps to mine. Even when I quickly sped up, our footsteps matched perfectly. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tip, tip. Tip, tip. Tap, tap, tap. I stopped suddenly. Tip, tip, tip. Tip. Rika stopped suddenly too after taking an extra step. When I turned around, Rika smiled at me. Our footsteps matched perfectly, and when I stopped suddenly, I heard her extra step. I've experienced such footsteps before. It was making me feel uncomfortable. But now, although her footsteps sounded the same as the other ones I'd experienced, I saw her when I turned around. That was the difference between them. I left the storage door open so that they could see the soy sauce barrel. The memo said she can take as much as she wants, but I wasn't sure there was enough left. I crouched down and tried to open the lid of the soy sauce barrel. Even when I crouched down, I could hear Rika's extra step.
うん、まだまだいっぱいあるよ。ほら、好きなだけ持ってくといい。
Ah, farts! Oh, Lord! Just a simple change in eyes, but wow, alright. She's like, heh, I got you now. Oh, Lord! I forgot about her creepy smile! Yikes! That one is significantly less creepy. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Bro, this is legit terrifying. I forgot we actually had this sprite a little bit in chapter 5 or chapter 4. Wow. I don't like it. I don't like it. When I turned around, Rika was very close to me. Who was this? I saw Rika, but it wasn't Rika at all. It was like when I switched my sister. The outside was the same, but the inside was different. Did Rika have a twin sister? I was confused for a moment. That was when Rika sprayed something from a small bottle into my eyes. Oh, go Rika! She knows. I felt the terrible pain in my eyes and suddenly tears poured out and my nose started to run. Does she have, like, mace? Or pepper spray? Oh, let's go, Rika! Yes! I couldn't stop sneezing either. As I stumbled around covering my face, I realized I was attacked. I shut my eyes tightly for a moment, then opened them again. Rika was about to grab my hair to drag me down onto the floor. Go, Rika! Go, Rika! When Rika saw me open my eyes, she sprayed at me again. I shut my eyes to avoid the spray, but my nose still breathed in the substance. I avoided the pain in my eyes, but the tears, the runny nose, and the sneezing continued. She got pepper spray! Shit! Ah! My brain isn't working quickly enough. However, when I finally understood that I had been attacked by Rika Furude, my brain started to grind into motion. Rika Furude knocked me on my back and got on top of me. Oh, she's strong! I tried to escape from her by rolling onto the kitchen floor. As I rolled, I hit an oven, a huge jar, and destroyed a pile of something on the floor as I fought back. Unfortunately, Rika's at a very much size and strength disadvantage here, but Rika didn't let go of me. She stayed on top and restrained me. Yeah, Rika does not have the lizard eyes, she just looks evil, which is interesting. She was sitting on my stomach and I felt intense pain and pressure. She sure could fight well! I still couldn't see anything. Rika had the upper hand, my eyes were shut and I was in real danger. As I tried to blink, I saw Rika's expression. I didn't know Rika Furude all that well. I only knew her from the few times we met when I went to school as Mion and from the things I've heard from other people. But as far as I knew, there was no way Rika Furude would ever do something like this. This is just impossible. Impossible. Impossible! No, I can't fill my head with that word. I have to calm down and figure out what to do next. Shit, I'm too much of a mess to even think! I tried to peek at her face again. She still had the spray bottle in one hand. What I didn't expect was the thing in her other hand. Is this the syringe? How could I mistake it for anything else? It was definitely a syringe. Oh! So are we gonna get the answer for this? When Rika realized I'd regained my eyesight, she pointed the spray bottle right at me and let loose with it. I shut my eyes tightly and tried to ignore the pain. But that was when, even though I was blinded, Rika made a miscalculation. She had sprayed at me from such a close distance that she inhaled the substance as well. I heard Rika sneeze, and I realized it was my chance. Even if I couldn't see, I knew she was right there. I hit Rika's face a few times. When I felt Rika's weight shift, I escaped. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. She looks angry here. I then got my stun gun ready. Rika must have inhaled just a little bit of the spray. She wasn't sneezing anymore, and she was glaring at me instead. She does have lizard eyes. Rika's expression didn't change, but I was sure she was disappointed that her surprise attack was a failure. Rika flinched just a little, but she was still holding the spray bottle and aiming it at my eyes. She was trying to use the spray first, and then give me the shot. I didn't know what was in that syringe, but it was a clear liquid. It's just water. It had to be something bad. She wanted to take my eyesight, get on top of me, and then give me the shot. If whatever was in the syringe took a while to take effect, I might have had the chance to fight back and seriously injure Rika. But Rika's surprise attack told me that just being injected was more than enough. In other words, whatever the effect, it would start to work immediately. Therefore, I wouldn't be able to fight back against her. How did Rika get the syringe in the first place, though? It'd probably either knock me out or kill me. In any case, what I had was equally deadly. My stun gun was very powerful. Just one shot would be all it took. What happened before was proof of its power. Rika knew my stun gun was a lot more powerful than her spray. She was being extremely cautious.
ほらほら、いつまで人ん家に上がり込んでボサッとしてくれてるわけさ。そっちから来ないんなら、こっちから行くぞ、こら!
I threw a pile of newspapers at her. The pile wasn't tied together, so the newspapers flew all over Rika. I jumped at her immediately after. I shoved my stun gun into her, and pulled the trigger. Rika spasmed and fell to the floor. No! No! You fool! Hesitating in a fight where a single blow wins? Only amateurs just glare at each other. You don't have a single clue about how advantageous the first strike is when a single blow can decide everything. The spray bottle rolled to the ground, but she still had the syringe. Rika was down, but I couldn't let my guard down either. I kicked her in the side and clambered on top of her. I took the syringe. I held Rika's arm down and then gave her the shot. Oh no! No! Oh, that's not good. My actions could hardly be called gentle. I injected her violently. I injected everything that was in the syringe. Oh no. Rika began to convulse. I stood back and watched for what would happen to her body. Of course, I still had my guard up. While I assumed that the drug would incapacitate her immediately, I didn't know exactly what kind of reaction she would have.
はっざまあないね。私に勝てるとか夢にでも思った。なめんじゃねえや!
After a few more convulsions, Rika unsteadily got to her feet. That's ridiculous. How can she even stand? I looked at my stun gun. Damn it! The power was on the lower setting. Maybe it had been readjusted while we were rolling around on the floor. It changed the setting to the maximum. Rika turned pale and started sweating all over. I didn't know its exact effects, but if Rika had given me the shot, I'd be the one experiencing her symptoms. She looked really sick, so she obviously must have been feeling awful too. She couldn't even focus. She was very wobbly and had her hand on the wall. She'd lost her balance, and it must have been hard for her to even stand. She didn't look so brave anymore. Rika wobbled some more and moaned as if she was about to throw up. What is that? What the heck does that mean? Rika looked scary as she moaned and wobbled, but at the same time she looked kind of funny too. Certainly, she hadn't even dreamed she'd be getting the shot herself. As the man sows, so shall he reap. That's what's gonna happen to you, Shion. What the heck is in that shot? I don't know. Maybe Rika's playing a power play where she's like, it was steroids, I'm stronger now. That's what you get.
実に滑稽だね。笑えるよ。でも吐くときは勘弁ね。お手洗いで吐いてちょうだいよ。あんたがあとどのくらいでくたばるのか見物するのも楽しいよ。ああ、でもそれじゃあ拷問する楽しみがなくなるね。私さ、あんたにはあの釘台を使ってやろうとずっと心に決めてたんだよね。
She didn't even do anything.
あんたが自分の薬でゲームを吐きながらそれで窒息して死ぬのが早いか、両手十指に釘をたらふく食らって痛みで行くのが早いか、ぜひ見てみたいもの。
Ew! Rika, the only thing Rika did was, like, try to incapacitate you and attack you. But also, this is after you've murdered people and tortured them and you're completely insane. So, she's in the right here.
よし、決めた。そうしようかね。じゃあ会場移そうか。
Well,
楽しい
let's not.
地下細具殿にね。 場所を移すためにちょいと眠っててもらうよ。
I walked up to Rika, my stun gun making popping sounds. When Rika saw the sparks from the stun gun, she moved to grab a huge kitchen knife.
おや、まだその程度の元気はあるわけだ。そうでなくちゃ面白くないよ。あんたにはいろいろ聞きたいことがあるしね。
Oh boy.
無駄に抵抗しない方がいろいろと辛くないよ。もっとも抵抗しなくても辛い目に遭うだろうけど。
残念だけど、あんたの誘いは断るわ。この拷問狂が。
She's got the deep voice again. This is so weird. Why does she have the deep voice? What she said wasn't anything I'd expect to hear from the Rika I knew, but I didn't hesitate. I had the advantage, so I didn't need to worry. Besides, this was coming from the last survivor of the Furaday family, one of the 3 families. That sudden change somehow felt natural.
あんたらの御三家の血塗られた歴史に比べたら、私なんてとてもとても。それを古出家当主様に褒めてもらえるなんてね。ちょっと光栄だね。んで、そのフラフラな体で包丁一本で抵抗してみせる。
I mean, if Rika can get just a clean, shot, toss the knife right through your heart, she can still win.
立っているだけでも限界なくせに。
Yeah, that's probably not gonna happen.
そうね。あんたの言う通り、これがどうも私の限界。お前なんかに召し取られて拷問で殺されるくらいなら。
Oh no, I know what she's about to do.
悪いけど、お先に退場させてもらうわ。
Rika's gonna stab herself in the heart.
退場できるならしてごらんよ。
It was clear who held the advantage here. But despite that, an odd thrill filled both of us. We lost our minds wasn't a fitting phrase for the people of Hinamizawa. It was a feeling of release, when modern demons could stop pretending to be human. Yes, this was a mad banquet of demons with the savoring of blood and devouring of flesh. Attended by the head of the Furaday family and the head of the Sonozaki family, the old families whose blood is closest to the madness of demons. I stood in front of the hallway so as to block her escape route. The windows had grates and the door had a safety chain on it. If she turned around, I'd hit her with my stun gun. In this situation, what did Rika Furaday mean by taking her leave? She means literally. Rika got her knife ready. I expected her to aim at my stomach when she attacked, so I took a stance with my stun gun ready in my hand. Rika, however, suddenly turned around. I carefully watched to see what her next move would be. Rika put the handle of the knife to the wall and held it in place. What's she doing?
じゃあね。さよなら拷問狂。お前なんかに殺されてたまるか。
Rika reared her head back and slammed her throat against the knife on the wall. Ew! Ah! Ah! Oh! I thought she was going for the heart stab. This is all. Ow! Shion was not ready for a power move like that, apparently. Her blood splattered all over. Good luck getting rid of this evidence. Rika bent backwards repeatedly and let the knife slash at her throat. Again and again. Again and again?! It didn't kill her in one hit?! Her neck and chest were dyed red. I'd always thought blood was darker. But her blood wasn't dark. It was so bright. I must have been confused, but it looked pretty. After doing this several times, Rika turned around. Her eyes were wide open. She didn't look like she was from this world. Her face looked like something both living and dead, both real and artificial. It was very scary, eerie, and above all else pale. Although her face looked unearthly, it was very appropriate face for a demon. I didn't have a mirror, so I couldn't tell, but I was sure I looked exactly like her. Rika continued to violently slash her throat. It reminded me of someone trying to break a huge piece of ice with an ice pick. How is she able to do this through the pain? This was exactly what Rika looked like. The white chips of ice coolly flying through the air. What I saw before me was a beautiful sight. Every time Rika struck her throat, tiny drops of red blood splattered to the boring white world around her. It was like a dance. A dedication dance by the final head of the Furaday family. The demon's last dance of dedication to Oyashiro-sama. Upon seeing that literally blood-curdling dance, I let out a fierce roar. I had no reason to do so. I was howling like an animal. We were like animals trying to kill each other, both getting covered in blood. And inevitably, as one convulsed in a pool of that blood, the other threw back its head and howled. Thank you, game, for a lack of a CG. Yes, thank you. Also, I'm willing to bet the anime does not give you the benefit of just a black screen. My body shivered with the joy I felt inside of me. This was death, the most final of judgments, and it was right before me. The demons howled, screamed, and roared. The roars faded, and my voice started to change from the voice of a demon back to that of a human. As a demon, I roared, but as a human, I sneered. Rika was covered in blood from her neck down. Her blood was pouring out, making a little noise. Rika was still staring into my eyes. I stared back at her. I wasn't sure they were still eyes, though. They were no longer human eyes, but the eyes of the dead. Rika. No, Rika's corpse vomited blood from her mouth and nose and smiled. Then she dropped the knife. She stuck her hands out and turned her palms upward. Her wiggling fingers reminded me of an insect's legs. Those fingers reached for her own throat. I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never seen anybody do this before. Because Rika was scratching her own throat. She was ripping her own throat apart. How is she still alive? Maybe that wasn't a good description. She was trying to rip out the inside of her throat through the opening she'd made with the knife. Her fingers found the biggest tear. Rika smiled. At least that's what I would have called it if she were alive. She ripped open the tear in one tug. Well, that was exceptionally disturbing. Upon hearing my scream, Rika died and fell on her face into the pool of blood. That was it. She didn't get up again to show me her throat. I stepped back from Rita Kafurude's body and bumped into the wall in the hallway. Ah! I roared again in admiration of the ritual dance of dedication of the head of the Furude family. Why? Why? Yes, why is she doing that? Is there something in the drugs? That doesn't make sense. Joy ran through my body and the blood rushed through my veins. Congratulations, you made a 10-year-old girl stab herself and tear her throat apart with a kitchen knife. You should be so proud. I then realized I'd disposed of the heads of the three families, the core of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Everything was finally exposed. The curse of Oyashiro-sama and its masterminds were all exposed. No, they weren't! You're just insane! I disposed of the leaders of the three families, who all killed Satoshi-kun. The head of the Sonozaki family died of a heart attack. She was at the bottom of the well, along with a wheelchair. I apprehended the head of the Kimiyoshi family. He'd continue to tiptoe until he died. The head of the Furude family died in a way that was perfect for the final head of the three families of Onikafuchi. Yeah, but except they died in probably the reverse order of brutality. Your grandma deserved the most violent death out of all of them, and she got the easiest one. Rika didn't do anything wrong, and you gave her far and away the most brutal death. Although I guess I was gonna say Rika did that to herself, but that still might have been preferable to what Shion would have done in the torture room. It's also probably preferable than getting your insides ripped out one at a time. I did it. I accomplished my mission. I defeated all the masterminds who killed Satoshi-kun with the curse. Everyone! Satoshi-kun, you were powerless. You didn't have the means to fight back. Those evil people simply sneered while they let you die, after making you as a member of the cursed Hosho family. I will never, ever forgive them! They believed you deserved to die because you were one of the Hoshos. As long as it was done by the curse of Oyashiro-sama, they didn't care how you were killed. I will never forgive those people for creating this world. What could I have done to save you, Satoshi-kun? I couldn't save you. Shion Sonozaki couldn't do anything else at the time. If I was Mion, not Shion. If I was Mion that day, I could have saved you. Mion could have saved you. That's right. I remember now. Shion! She said she wanted to eat red snapper sashimi that day. I was supposed to eat that. But Shion pouted and cried. That was why I let her switch, just for that night. I did it to make her happy like a big sister would. Shion was never treated well, so I felt bad. That was it! I was being a good sister, that was it. When morning came, the world had been turned upside down, and it had remained so until today. We weren't twins anymore. The one with the demon was Mion, and the one without the demon was Shion. What was that supposed to mean? Wait, Mom, listen! I'm Mion, not her! You can tell us apart, right, Mom? Look, can't you tell I'm Mion? Come on, everyone, tell I'm Mion. I'm Mion. Don't call me Shion. I'm Mion. I am.
その時私ははっきり悟ったよ。
Most sane 4chan user.
あんたは知っていたんだ。あの夜親類たちが集まって何をするのかただの宴会じゃないって知っていたんだ。
知らない本当に知らなかったの。
はあ？なわけないでしょ。あんたあの日だけ嫌にしつこく絡んできたじゃない。タイの刺身なんて食べたことない、食べてみたい、いつもミオンばかりずるい、私にもって。普段ならおとなしく納得するくせにあの日だけ必要に。
知らないの、本当に知らなかったの。あんな恐ろしいことになるなんて思ってたら絶対に言わなかった。
どうだか。あんたはいつも妬んでたじゃない。ミオンばかりいい目にあってずるいって。だから私が気を利かせてたまに入れ替わってあげてたんじゃない。あんたはそれに満足していなかった。より一層妬んでいったんだ。そしてあの夜の意味を自分だけ知り私から奪ったんだ。ミオンを奪ったんだ。ミオンを返せ。私がミオンなんだ。私が園崎ミオン。お前はシオンなんだよ、シオン。ミオンを語るな、偽物が。
I kicked the bars of the cell repeatedly while I roared. Compared to my roar, the metallic noise of the bars sounded like the cry of a little puppy. I had been convinced by something so stupid. The tattoo of the demon was just a way of telling us apart. Even without that tattoo, I am Mion. That's right, I am Mion Sonozaki. I gathered my hair and put it in a ponytail with the yellow band that Mion used all the time. Since I didn't feel my hair on my neck, I felt like I could think more clearly now. Two Mions looked at each other through the iron bars. According to our sibling rules, that was never to happen. Yes, there was only one Mion and one Shion. There could never be two of either at the same time.
髪をほどけシオン。ミオンは私だ。ミオンはここにいる。お前がミオンじゃない。だから語るな、二度と私を語るな。聞いているのか、シオン。
This does explain the name switch, and I hate it.
聞こえているのか。聞こえているなら返事をしろ。私に返事を届かせろ、シオン。
I took myself back on this day. Shion admitted that she was Shion.
ミオンであることがこんなにも素晴らしいなんて。
Guys, don't tell Shion that the narrator still calls her Shion.
すごいよ。体全体が言うことを聞く。頭の回転が優れた気がする。そうだよ。ミオンは万能なんだ。
This is not going to end well for you, Shion, because now that you've done the name change, everyone's going to think you were the one responsible for this all.
みそかすのシオンとは違う。落ちこぼれのくせに下手なミオンのふりなんかしやがって。それが私にとってどれだけむずがゆかったことかわかるでしょ、あんたになら。シオン。
はい。おね。
Shion called me sis. And so I was Mion! Ah! The demon who had been asleep deep inside of me was finally allowed to wake up. Yeah! It hadn't done anything until now, you witch with a capital B. The demon roared and my whole body shivered to express its joy.
シオン、あんたには罪がある。あんたは今までミオンだった。園崎家の鬼を継ぐミオンという強い立場がありながら、サトシ君を救わなかった、救おうとしなかった。
Yeah, this is very discordant music, but it fits the situation well.
サトシ君を救うための100億の瞬間があったはずなのに、
I don't think she did.
見殺しにすることを選んだんだ。
What am I saying? You can't reason with Shion. She's like a redditor.
私は許さない。お前を許さない。お前が私だったらサトシ君を救えていたのに。お前が私を奪いサトシ君を殺したことを私は絶対に許さない。
Shion was shaking on the other side of the bars.
私はお前を殺すだろう。絶対に殺す。サトシ君の無念に見合う殺し方をしてやる。
$10 says Shion has reptile eyes.
お前を一番残酷に殺す方法が何なのか、今日から毎日考えて過ごしてやる。シオンは私がそれを思いつくまでのわずかな日々を、いつ殺されるのか、どう殺されるのかに怯えながら過ごすがいい。簡単には殺さない。むごたらしく殺す。殺した後はサトシ君と同じ井戸に放り投げて。
See? even if she thinks that someone deserves death, she could give them a painless death. But she is actively choosing to torture them and make them suffer. Once you start torturing people before killing them, there's no justification for it. Zero. You are the bad guy.
そしてサトシ君にあの世で謝ってこい。それが私を語り続けてきたことへの報いだ。報いお前の罪。
You know, Shion, I think you need a little bit of introspection to realize you're even worse than the people that you hated. I needed to at least clean up the kitchen. While I was putting old newspapers on the floor to absorb the blood, the phone rang. I didn't want to answer, but maybe I should. I should answer it and talk to whoever it was.
はい、園崎です。
いつもお世話になってるでございます。
Oh, that's not good! I was surprised to hear the Hojo name, but I realized right away that it was Satoko.
あ、さとこ？どうしたの？
夜分遅くに申し訳ありませんわね。うちのリカがお邪魔してませんこと？
No, she's not here! Ah, yes. Ever since Satoko Hojo was abandoned, she had been living with Rika Furude. Of course she'd get suspicious that Rika hadn't returned yet.
あ、来てるよ。
あら、まだお邪魔してますの？
Kind of!
もう夕飯の時間ですのに。
Do you want to come over for dinner?
ねえさとこ、実はね、今日さ、ちょいとおかずを作りすぎちゃってね。リカちゃんにも夕食を振る舞ってるんだよ。
そうなんでございますの？
さとこも来なよ。さとこの分もあるからさ。リカちゃんはもう食べてるよ。
Yeah, which?
もうリカったら。わかりましたわ。ちょっと片付けをしてから参りますわね。では、ごめんあそばせ。
うん。待ってるからね。
This is gonna be the rubber one, because I don't think that Satoko's gonna get the chance to kill herself before Shion tortures her.
じゃ。
Click. Oh wow, fancy telephone. Ooh. Perfect music cue. How have we not gotten a tip? I think there are still 6 tips sections left.
ケイイチ、さっきから呼んでるぞ。
Keiichi's dad, you gotta save the day.
電話だ。園崎さんから。
園崎さんってどっち？
Which one?
姉？妹？
そんなのは知らん。
They all sound the
自
same.
分で出て聞きなさい。
もしもし、ミオンか？シオンか？
私です。
Is this going to be where she freaks out on the telephone?
シオン
Where
で
he's
す。
able to deduce that she had something to do with the mayor?
こんばんは。
シオン、ゆうべはすまなかった。つい興奮して。
He must have been worried about how I hung up the phone so suddenly last night.
私たちは運命共同体なんです。互いの無事の確認が自分たちの安全の唯一の保証なんです。
ああ、それについては同感だ。
だから私たちは互いの知っている情報を共有する必要があります。高野さんたちみたいな死に方をしないために。
I heard Keiichi swallow loudly.
では、昨日の続きを話します。もう怒らないで聞いてくれますよね。
ああ、大丈夫だ。
Keiichi agreed to be quiet and listen. I explained the dangerous situation Keiichi was in once again. Just like how some evil people in the village attacked Takano-san and Toмотake-san, they might attack us any day. It was ironic, of course, that while I was warning him, I was also the one who made sure the curse would fall upon him.
互いに何か気になることがあったら報告し合いましょう。互いの持つ小さな断片を合わせていけば、ひょっとすると高野さんたちを殺した、いえ、今年の事件に限らない過去の連続事件を解決する鍵が見つかるかもしれません。
そうだな。確かにそうだ。
では、 まずは言い出した私から行きます。最近誰かに監視されているような気がします。
I was making this up. I just wanted him to realize how urgent the situation was.
と言っても気のせいかもしれません。でも一応報告します。今は気のせいだと思っていますけど、もしもケイちゃんも同じように誰かに監視されているように感じるなら、これは気のせいじゃないのかもしれませんから。
そういうことなら安心しろ。少なくとも俺の方は大丈夫だ。
It seemed like nothing had happened to Keiichi today, at least. Now that the heads of all three families were gone, it was possible for the curse system had been destroyed entirely. And if that was the case, then Keiichi might not be attacked after all. But if there was someone who did want to attack him, that meant part of the system was still alive. In other words, my mission wouldn't be accomplished just yet. But you're the only one who's killing people! Keiichi is like a litmus test in this situation. I'd know whether or not all my enemies were gone, depending on if Keiichi got bitten. He sure is a very useful man. After that, I went along with what Keiichi said. I made sure he was fearful of Mion, as well as all of the three families. I explained to him the possibility that the whole village was involved, and that the curse of Oyashiro-sama might be some sort of system. I then remembered Shion wouldn't know too much about the disappearance of the mayor, so I continued.
私もついさっき聞いたんですが、君吉のおじいちゃんが行方不明になったって本当ですか？
村長さんのことか。なんだシオン、聞いてないのか？
何も知らないです。お父さんが電話でそう話してるのをまた盗み聞いただけですから。
ああ、実はな、ゆうべ会合の後、家に帰ってこないとかでひなみ沢中で大騒ぎになったんだ。村中で探したみたいだけど、まだ見つかったって話は聞かないな。警察も探してるはずなんだけど。
なんでそんな大事な話を先にしてくれなかったんですか？
悪い、もう知ってると思ってたんだよ。隠す気なんかなかった。
ケイちゃん、私どうしよ
う。どうした？話せよ。俺たちの間で隠し事はなしだろ。
ごめん、隠すつもりはなかったんです。ちょっと言うのが前後したっていうか。
俺たちは仲間だろ。怒ったりしないから正直に話せよ。
私、君吉のおじいちゃんに打ち明けたんです。
君吉のじいさんってのはシオンにとって相談できる心安い人なんだろう。
はい、私のこと小さい頃から本当に可愛がってくれて、私いつも意地悪なことをしてたのに、いつもニコニコと笑って私の言うことは何でも聞いてくれて、本当に優しい人だったのに。
落ち着けよシオン。別に死んでしまったわけじゃないだろ。
I like how we had the touching music when Keiichi's perspective for this call, and now we've got the creepy music for its Shion, because it's all a lie.
そんな簡単に諦めるなよ。
Keiichi tried to make me feel better, but he had no idea what was actually going on. It really made me laugh.
村長さんに私晩最後殿に忍び込んだこと、誰かにそれを見られてて、私たちを狙っている人がいるって。
村長さんは高野さんたちがまともじゃない死に方をしたのを知ってる
How
のか？
could he not?
はい、知っていました。二人がお社様のたたりで死んだから、私はその怒りを鎮める生贄にされるんじゃないかって本当に率直に言いました。
ああ、それで
君吉のおじいちゃん怒らなかった。そしてにっこり笑って、シオンちゃんがちゃんと反省してるなら鬼隠しになんかなるものかって、本当に笑いながら任せなさいって。
I actually got a little sad while saying that. I don't believe you. Uncle Kimiyoshi had been so reliable. I was happy when he said that he would protect Shion. Then why did you kill him in a horrible way? Ah, I truly was happy. No, you weren't. If only he hadn't said anything to insult Satoshi-kun.
私のせいです。
You knew him for 2 effing weeks!
私が打ち明けてしまったから。
よせよシオン。
I'm saying it. Shion has surpassed Kazumi Yuji as the most unlikable visual novel protagonist ever. Do you have any idea how hard it is to top Yuji? Do you know how disgusting? What? Okay, for those of you who don't know, let me just try to quickly summarize. In one of the Roots and Fruit of Griseia, Yuji was basically Michiru was his girlfriend, and she was not in a good headspace, and she basically told him like, hey, basically told him that she was suicidal and wanted to die, and he was like, okay, drugs her and like basically paralyzes her, puts her in a glass coffin and parades her around the school, basically being like, hey, she's died, and like tells this to all her friends so that they all are like freaking out and crying as she's unable to do anything. He buries her alive and leaves her there for days until she's like, wait, I don't want to die, and then like digs her out and is like, I saved you, be grateful. It was so unbelievably disgusting. Shion is worse than that. How? We actually got to this point. God, I hate her.
シオンのせいじゃないよ。
It is.
いいえ、私のせいなんです。私が打ち明けてしまったから。君吉のおじいちゃんが知ってしまったから。だから殺されてしまったに違いないんです。だって打ち明けてすぐなんですよ。打ち明けて大丈夫って言ってくれたその晩に消えてしまった。
There was such a strange feeling. I wasn't upset at all. But as I pretended to be upset and mutter words of prayer for Kimiyoshi's safety, I started to feel that emotion growing within inside me. I was only pretending to be distressed to fool Keiichi, yet the emotion I feigned was beginning to well up inside me. It felt like I was being consumed by that emotion. So the words coming from my mouth weren't words I intentionally said. They were words that what consuming emotion forced me to say. I felt like something else inside of me was doing the talking instead. And I was just watching that someone talk from a short distance away.
話すんじゃなかった。これは全部私たち4人のトガだったはず。他人に話してはいけないことだったんです。話したから殺されてしまった。知ったから殺されてしまった。打ち明けたから殺されてしまった。
おい待てよ。
Okay, this isn't the phone call where she freaks out.
そんなやつなら打ち明けた村長を殺す前にお前から先に殺すに決まってるじゃないか。順番が違うよ。殺されるなら俺かシオンが先。他のやつらが先に死んだりするものか。
順番はあります。私たちを一番最後に殺すつもりに違いないんです。
Kill every last one of them!
なんだって。
人思いに殺さないで親しい人たちから順々に殺していって散々悲しい思いをさせた後に殺す、そういう狙いに違いないんです。
What I just said scared even me. Killing our loved ones first to harm us emotionally, and only then kill us at the height of our suffering. Whoa. I felt something crawling up my spine. That's awesome! It's an awesome idea! I must not be human anymore. I really am a demon. No, you are still a human. You're just an absolutely terrible human being. A human could never think such cruel things. Oh, yes they can! Have you not studied history at all? That would be one incredible hell. Your close friends dying one at a time after being tortured. And after all that, you yourself get killed. What a great way to destroy someone's life. Why was I getting so excited about this? Because you're evil. Because I could get going with that plan right away. Yeah.
リカちゃん、リカちゃんだ。
え、今なんて言ったんですか？
俺も実は打ち明けたんだ。リカちゃんに今日。
リカちゃんってリカちゃまのことですか？フルデ神社のリカちゃま？
そうだよ、リカちゃんだよ。俺もどうしようもなく不安で打ち明けたんだ。リカちゃんに。
そうしたらリカちゃまはなんて？
猫さんの心配しすぎなのです。僕がきっと何とかしてあげますですよ。
This is why she's really going to torture Keiichi, because she's like, that rat tried to send Rika after me, even though it's not what he did.
リカちゃんはそう言って。ごめんシオン。俺ちょっとリカちゃんのことが心配になっちゃって。
あ、はい。そんなに心配でしたらぜひ電話を。安否を確認してみてください。
ああ、そうさせてもらう。
また明日もこのくらいの時間に連絡します。
Has she already trapped and or killed Satoko? Or is this happening while Satoko is like on her way?
それをもって私の安否確認としてください。
分かった。待ってる。じゃあな。すまん。切るぞ。
Keiichi run up roughly. What a hilarious conversation with Keiichi. Everything was just too damn funny. Keiichi Maebara, go ahead and struggle helplessly. Run all over the village and see if the curse is still alive. Go ahead and see if my enemies are still around. I laughed for a while and then calmed down. I'd already gotten rid of the bicycles and the shoes belonging to Rika and Satoko. Okay, this is after. My house was, for the moment, taken care of. I could expect Keiichi to run around in a panic, to ask for help from someone, and then ultimately come to Mion. More than likely, the youth group would end up looking for Rika like they did with the mayor. I'd probably have to endure another lone night again, knowing nobody would find her. I decided to wait until the phone rang. I killed time by watching TV until it did. Like the psycho you are.
ケイちゃん、本気で言ってんの？
Yeah, he is.
もし冗談だったらかなり怒るよ。
I scolded Keiichi for suspecting that Rika had disappeared.
みーちゃん、
Hey,
本
Rena.
当に冗談だったなら怒るんじゃなく笑おうよ。
This does mean I was slightly mistaken, because when Chapter 2, I thought Rena was like the only person who didn't go crazy. Turns out she actually is still kind of going crazy, just way less so than others.
だって冗談なんだから。私たちはそれが冗談であることを確かめなくちゃいけない。
そうだね。機嫌の悪そうなことを言ってごめん。
Rena rebuked me. While she looked quiet, I felt that she could be very terrifying under her skin. I had no basis for that impression, but I still felt that way. Rena is going to be the main hero of this chapter, though, because she is the one who calls the police and has them storm the torture bunker. Because, for some reason, when they apprehend her, for some asinine reason, Keiichi's like, I'll go alone with Mion, even though she just admitted to killing everybody. Nothing will happen to me. But I guess, Rena, if I'm not back in like 30 minutes, you should probably call the cops. And she did. I just didn't like her. I had disliked her ever since that rainy day at the bus stop. I mean, it wasn't a great first impression, to be fair. It wasn't that we didn't get along, though. How should I put it? I was at a loss for how to explain. Ah, that was it. I found a good example. When I was little, I always wanted to play tennis. I had my relatives take me to a tennis court, and they all praised my skill. I was doing nothing more than hitting a ball with a racket. But they told me I was talented, and that made me happy. When I went to school, I told my classmates that I played tennis, and they told me that I was talented too. Then, one of my classmates, who was usually very quiet, said she also played tennis. Not only did she play, but she took lessons. Although I bragged about my serve, I was no match for her. I felt lonely and insulted that everyone was paying attention to her and not me. She was usually very quiet, but suddenly I realized that she knew more and had a lot more experience than me. Rena at the bus stop was just like that. I thought of myself as a demon now. I'd awakened a part of me that was half human and half demon, the part that lived in Onagafuchi village. In fact, I'd already stepped into a world where normal humans couldn't go. I'd already surpassed my human limits. I genuinely thought of myself as a superior being, having transcended the realm of mortals. And you're not at all concerned about this. It's also, again, I take strong objection whenever someone sees, like, a truly horrible thing that somebody does, and they're like, well, that's just inhuman. It's like, no, it is human. Many humans do this. We all, honestly, I think deep down we all have some semblance of that in us. When my eyes met with Rena Ryugu's, I felt what I did long ago with tennis. Why? Why did I feel that way with Rena? I'd heard that in the animal world, during battle, animals glare at each other to display their strength. Only humans have to punch and kick each other to feel superiority or inferiority. Most animals can tell just by glaring at each other. In that case, could it be the same with Rena?
みーちゃん大丈夫？
ごめん。
Is that explaining why she went crazy-eyed at one weird part in Chapter 2?
ほらさ、昨日から寝不足で。ごめん。
Keiichi climbed up a ladder and tried to peek into the window on the second floor where Rika and Satoko lived. Is this where we're getting the crazy ladder scene? It was my job to hold down the ladder. Yes, it is. Rena cautioned me to hold onto it tightly.
みーちゃん、私念のため本宅の方も見てくるね。すぐ戻るから。
ごめん。よろしく。
Rena ran off after that. Rena in this chapter took her meds. I'm not sure about that, because she's definitely gone kind of crazy once or twice. Maybe she's taking them recently. When I looked up, I saw Keiichi trying to open a window, but all of them were locked.
本宅ってなんだ？
Keiichi asked me from the top of the ladder.
フルデ家の本当の家だよ。両親が亡くなって以来ずっと放置してあるそうだけど。
あ、そうか。リカちゃんのご両親って亡くなってるんだよな。
サトコも親はいないよ。
We haven't gotten to a tip section yet, and we have 6 of those to go.
お社様のたたりってことで両親が崖から落っこちてね。お兄さんだったサトシ君もいなくなっちゃって。
サトシって前に聞いた名前だな。
I'd heard the name. He'd heard the name before? I felt anger growing inside of me. Don't you know whose desk you're using every day? You act as if it belongs to you. You drop food on it while eating lunch. You drool on it while taking a nap. Do you know who it really belongs to? Why am I acting this way? I'm Mion. Satoshi-kun doesn't even exist anymore. He was demoned away. It's hardly Keiichi's fault that he didn't know. It really isn't his fault.
サトコはリカちゃんと一緒にこの小屋で暮らしてるんだよ。互いに身寄りのない一人ぼっち同士。助け合ってね。
本宅って言ったか？そっちで暮らした方が楽だろうに。
初めはそうしてたみたい。
I hope the Satoshi actually did go to Tokyo just to escape from this crazy bee.
でも両親を思い出すから辛いって言って。
After everyone in Satoko's family died, she started living with Rika. It only made sense. Satoko and Rika were best friends. They didn't care about the Hojo family or the Furide family. They'd been best friends since before the dam conflict. The main reason why the curse never fell upon Satoko. Rika Furide probably had a lot to do with it. That made more sense than anything else, at least. Satoko was pardoned from the curse of the Hojo family, all thanks to Rika Furide's arrangements. Satoko had never been a victim on the night of Watanagashi. According to the curse system I'd uncovered, the last survivor of the Hojo family still living in Hinamizawa would be the perfect target for this year's curse. Therefore, whoever was responsible for executing the curse must have tried to take her life. However, nothing happened to her, proving that Satoko had escaped from the curse. That was really and truly infuriating. She might have been the head of the Furide family, but I still couldn't accept that such a little girl had enough power to protect her best friend. Mion. No, actually Shion. Shion must have had the same power then. Just like Rika protected Satoko, Shion could have protected Satoshi. Damn it, damn it!
リカちゃんもサトコも大変なんだな。
呪われてるんだよ。
ミオン、お前今なんて言った？
呪われてるって言ったの。
ミオン、お前なんて顔してんだよ。
北条サトコはね、お社様のたたりを一身に受けた呪われた子なの。
I can't accept that Satoko was parted from the curse, although she was a member of the cursed Hojo family. She was one of the cursed Hojos! Satoshi-kun wasn't pardoned, but Satoko was! She was cursed, but she got away. She escaped the curse, but Satoshi-kun didn't. I can't accept that. In fact, Satoko should have been the one cursed the most. She cornered Satoshi-kun physically and emotionally. That was why things got weirder and weirder, and in the end, everything went crazy. When I think back on it, it was Satoko who I hated most of all. You change who you hate most of all every 5 minutes. She cornered Satoshi-kun. Censored, and as a result, Satoshi-kun disappeared. She started it. She caused it! If only she hadn't been there. Just as Rika Furde and Satoko lived happily, maybe there could have been a happy future for me too. I doubt it! You're a nutcase. Maybe Satoshi-kun and I could have started our lives together in Okinomiya. He didn't even like you! He thought you were Mion! Yes, if I look at the beginning and the end, it's so obvious. Satoko's existence caused everything. Satoshi-kun had to kill his aunt because of Satoko. The three families used that need to create the curse, and then they killed him! The police were convinced that he just ran away, but he'd never do that. He was the type of person who always did his best at everything. All by himself. He was doing the very best he could for his only sister, yet he was forced to vanish. He worked so hard for Satoko because he cares about her. And though he was just living for her, he was erased. Poor Satoshi-kun. He was so underappreciated. That girl knew no gratitude. You are a complete nutcase, and I'm glad that he is far, far away from you. She was cursed. If you got near her, you'd meet the same fate. You'd be cursed to die or disappear. That really was it. She was the main cause behind it all. She wormed her way into Rika Furude's good graces, and that was why the curse fell upon Satoshi-kun. She should have died first. then Sachiko would still be alive. If he was alive, I could have done something for him. I can't forgive her. I can't forgive Satoko. I can't forgive that girl. There could be no peace with her. There could be no peace. She was the perfect target for the curse of 1983. The curse of Oyashiro-sama. Rika Furude, the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Rika was dead. The reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama had died. There was no more god in Hinamizawa to deliver the curse. I am the one who has to deliver it now. How does this girl have anybody who likes her? How? She is actually one of the worst characters I've ever encountered in fiction. I am Mion Sonozaki, head of the Sonozaki family, one of the 3 families of Otogafuchi. Now that all the heads of the 3 families are gone, there is nobody to surpass me. I will deliver the curse of Oyashiro-sama and nobody else. I'll deliver it. I am the curse. I have become Oyashiro-sama. I felt hot bubbles boiling over deep inside of me. I could tell the demon inside of me wanted to roar. I noticed Keiichi was looking down at me. Calm down, Mion. He can't tell what you're thinking. No, but he can tell that you're acting really weird. Calm down, calm down. At that point, I heard footsteps coming closer. I saw 4 or 5 adults, accompanied by Rena, running towards us with flashlights in their hands. One of them opened the lock on the cabin door, and we all went inside. Of course, there was nobody there. Satoko and Rika lived alone. I doubted Satoko would have had a note saying that she was over at the Sonozaki house when Rika was already there. But it wouldn't be fun if she had. Because of that, I hurried into the room ahead of Rena to make sure there was nothing left behind. The rumor of Rika and Satoko's disappearance spread around the village quickly. More and more villagers gathered at the Furude shrine. Acting in place of the head of the Sonozaki family, I commanded them to search the village. The villagers nodded and scattered. How long had it been since the last time I was truly Mion? I felt so pleased that my body almost went numb. Lots of villagers that went in and out of the shrine. They yelled at each other that she was nowhere to be found. Some suggested other places to look, and they all left. They made a lot of noise with their comings and goings. It was the Sonozaki family. No, it was the 3 families. No, it was Rika's fault. No, it was Satoko. Yes! Yes! My gosh, she's the worst. It took almost nothing to make her be like, I'll kill everybody. But not even like, oh, I'll execute them. It's like, I will torture them terribly and then kill them. What a vile human being. Members of the Women's Association brought out huge pots and gas cookers from the storage and got ready to cook for the men. That was when I noticed Keiichi unsteadily walking towards the copse of the dark pine trees. What was he thinking? How stupid of him to be alone on a night like this. If a person responsible for executing the curse was nearby, he wouldn't come back safely.
ミオンちゃん、お茶が池の方もぐるっと探したけど全然ダメだね。池の中も照らしたけど明るくなんないとわかんないよ。
ありがとうございます。婦人部の皆さんがお味噌汁を作ってくれてますので、召し上がって休んでください。
I legit think that if Shion was not a sociopath, or if she's not a psychopath, she is a sociopath at this point. Because she is able to just instantly flip from, like, I love being evil, murder, torture everybody, to, like, I'm normal. Like, instantly. No, like, a normal person can't do that.
ミオンちゃん、あの2人って自転車どこに止めてたんか知ってるかい？
さあ、多分境内の階段の下じゃないかな。まさかあの階段を担いで上がったりはしないでしょう。
ないんだよね。2人どこかに行っちゃったんだろうかね。
自転車で遊びに行ったなら遠くかもしれんな。町か。
だとするとひなみ沢の中にはいないんかもしれんな。
She probably could have used mental help, but honestly, I think she's way too far gone now. Like, she ain't coming back from this.
そういえばリカちゃまがいなくなったってのは誰が最初に気づいたんだ？
ああ、ケイちゃんだけど、急に虫が知らせたんだとか。
前原屋敷のせがれさんか。なんや怪しいな。
そういえば前原家は来てないのか、この一大事の時。
They're asleep.
前原家は懲戒未加入だから青年団の連絡網に入ってないんよ。
Ah, gotcha.
なあ、すったらんしょうがな。俺入ったろ懲戒。
ああ、あれさね、連絡網に名前が載ってないだけんと違う？連絡網新年に作ったきりやんね。途中から越してきたから載ってない。
前原のせがれさんの虫の知らせってのがどうもな。
第一発見者が一等怪しい言うやんね。そのせがれはどこ行ったんかいね。
さっき松林の方にふらふら行くのを見たよ。誰か呼んでくる？
You were looking into mental health and wondered if Shion has borderline personality disorder? The extreme mood swings is crazy. Is that caused by borderline personality disorder, or is that bipolar, or is it both? I don't actually really know the difference. Or maybe she's just crazy. Back in the day, we didn't have these fancy names for things. We just said, yeah, you're crazy. Conveniently, I saw Keiichi and Rena walking back towards us.
ケイちゃん、どこ行ってたんだよ。ケイちゃんまでいなくなったのかと心配したよ。
すまん。
It looked like nothing had happened to Keiichi. If so, that's fine. That means I took care of all of my enemies.
おやおやおや。
We see the hero of the day.
おいしい匂いが漂ってくると思ったら、これはぜひご評判に預かりたいですね。
I heard the loud, sticky voice of a middle-aged man. It was Uisi. He must be confused about this year's incident. The scale of the curse this time is nothing like the previous ones. Uisi's information network is equal to, or better than that of the elders in the town council. In other words, he could easily uncover a rumor that was circulating for the underside of the village. He must have came here to see if the disappearances of Kimiyoshi and Rika had something to do with the changing on the lock of the ritual storehouse's door. The police will come for me sooner or later. I am Mion Sorazaki. By removing all the heads of the three families, my enemies, I have become the head in their place. I can't allow Mion Sorazaki to continue existing. I'll have to destroy the existence of the head of the Sorazaki family. When I destroy my own position, that is when my revenge will come to an end. More than likely, I'll have Uisi witness my final moments. So she is already planning her suicide. My eyes and Uisi's met. Damn it, he thinks I'm suspicious already. You're right, Uisi. I did it. Mion Sorazaki, the head of the Sorazaki family, is the culprit. By the way, I can read people's minds. You're under arrest. Date it! Finally, some tips! My goodness. Only 5 left, plus the after party. The path to hell continued down the road into darkness. With the ladder as the, achievement table. Alright. Notebook page 195. Rika Furide. She was the head of the Furide family, but she never even appeared at the most important meetings. Even if she did show up, nobody would ask for her opinion, so it never really mattered if she was there or not. A legend in the Furide family says that if the firstborn child is a girl for 8 generations in a row, the 8th girl would be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Why girls? What's wrong? Why not boys as well? Seems weird. According to Takano-san's research, Rika Furide is very likely to be the one. Surely she must be an important icon in the cult of Oyashiro-sama. The true believers are devoted to her. So it's quite surprising to me that Rika Furide herself was the assassin. She wasn't. She was just trying to put an end to your crazy plans. It's unbelievable. It's just too abnormal. Usually a VIP like her wouldn't be the one to assassinate someone. It's possible that it was a Rika Furide look-alike. From the way she looked, or from the way she moved, she seemed experienced in fighting. It's not normal that a small girl like her would jump at me without faltering. I got lucky just because I had a stun gun. Without it, I don't know what would have happened. She was far more skilled than she looked. Was she trained as an assassin? Or was it a body double? Everything is a mystery, including that creepy syringe. What is going on? I can't understand. She was like an apparition or something. Did Oryo Sonozaki know of her existence? What is hiding on the underside of this village? That underside might run much deeper than I thought. I'm still wondering, yeah, about what was in the syringe, and I'm also wondering why Rika's voice suddenly becomes very deep at times. Maybe demonic activity. At this point, I believe that I can complete my revenge by destroying the curse system entirely. That means I have to eliminate the heads of all 3 families. the successor Shion, and the assassins who are after Keiichi. Although Keiichi is completely unguarded, he hasn't been attacked so far, even though I told everybody that he was one of the trespassers. In fact, it's me who's being attacked. Rika Furade attacked me. According to my theory, Keiichi should make for very attractive bait, but nobody has done anything to harm him. Since Rika Furade attacked me, it might be that the opposing the Furade family is a greater taboo than trespassing in the ritual storehouse. Rika Furade had said that the intrusion wasn't a big deal. She sounded like she was going to let Keiichi walk. And after I accused her of that, Rika Furade attacked me that very night. Are there two different factions? Does one handle trespassers in the ritual storehouse, while the other protects the religious doctrines of the Furade family? No, that doesn't make any sense. Tomotage-san's death must have been caused by the Furade family's injections. Rika showed me the effect of it herself, clawing out her own throat and dying like that. But Tomotage-san shouldn't have been subject to the curse, at least according to the system of the Furade family. I don't understand why Keiichi hasn't been attacked. Did he have something exempting him from the curse, unlike Takano-san? Just like how only Satoko Hojo was spared? Keiichi is a friend of Rika Furade's. So, does that mean if you were close to her, you wouldn't be cursed? Nope. Was that she more important than the whole system? That's impossible. The hag was at the top of the curse system. Rika couldn't have been the higher up than her. Scribble, scribble. Are there multiple ways to determine the subject of the curse? Are there as many curse execution groups as there are subjects? And do they all work separately? Oh, it's a mess! None of my theories add up. If I mess up my reasoning, I might take the wrong person of the target, or I might make the wrong person the target of my revenge. You don't care about that at all! You've killed so many people. I don't understand who the enemy is, or how Satoshi-kun was made to disappear. How much did the hag know? That really was a huge loss. I have so many things I wanted to ask her. I killed her by accident. Shit! With that respect, I've already failed in my revenge. The underside of Hinamizawa really does run too deep. Scribble, scribble. The whole page is blacked out with scribbles. Yeah, You do think Shion has some form of sociopathy? She lacks empathy for others, is self-serving, and tendencies for manipulation? Yes! And she can switch her emotions, like, in a heartbeat. She can perform crocodile tears at any time that she wants. She also definitely has some form of narcissism, because she absolutely does not take any responsibility or accountability for her own actions. Oh, maybe it's no wonder why I hate her so much. And yet in Chapter 1, Keiichi was stabbed with a syringe and clawed his throat out. No, he wasn't stabbed with a syringe. He wasn't. Rena and Mion, possibly Shion, tried to stab him with a syringe, and he was able to beat them with his baseball bat before they could. But then he still clawed his throat out. Because I think... No, he didn't hide the Hang on. No. Yeah, because after he killed them, he hid the syringe behind, like, his clock in his room. Because he kind of told his parents, like, you know, if I ever died, I would probably leave, like, something behind my clock in my room. And then, like, the police looked behind there, and they're like, yeah, there was no syringe. So someone, like, came in later and took it out. Chapter 1 is a mess, man. Like, as far as trying to understand it. Actually, basically every single chapter's ending, except for Chapter 4, was like a what the bleep is going on moment.
Yo! Minasan, mada ikiteru?
Kimiyoshi was hanging from the collar with his head turned up to the ceiling. He didn't even move when I walked in. Maybe he's already dead. Satoko was lying on a cross-shaped restraining table. She glared at me with red and swollen eyes, which must have been that way from crying. I don't like where this scene is gonna go. I'd wanted to put her on that special restraining table to pound nails into her hands, but Satoko was too small for that. I walked up to Kimiyoshi and poked his body with my toe. There was no response.
Kimiyoshi no oji-chan, shinda?
人殺し
Yep.
人殺し
Maybe Satoko had witnessed Kimiyoshi's last moments. I took a thick knife from the wall and stabbed Kimiyoshi with it. There was no response.
君吉のおじいちゃん、生きてるなら正直に生きてるって言ってくださいよ。死体のふりして逃げ出そうなんて通用しないから。
I walked over to the pulley that was suspending Kimiyoshi.
最終通告。生きてる？
I don't think he is.
生きてるなら返事してね。
I paused for just a moment. then turned the pulley. Kimiyoshi's body swayed strangely in the air. It looked much more like a corpse like that.
どうしてこんなことをするんですの、シオンさん。
Oh, she's gonna be. You don't call me Shion, I'm here!
ああ、なるほど。
The door to the huge cave was still open. I bet Satoko had talked to the one in the cell while I was gone. That's why she knows my name. Although that's not actually my name at all.
シオンじゃなくて、私が本当のミオン。あんたたちがミオンだと思ってた方がシオン。まあややこしいだろうから理解しなくて結構。
Yeah, that seems needlessly confusing, actually. Not quite to Kingdom Hearts level, but...
よくも、みんなを、リカを。
I'm not even gonna correct you that Rika killed herself. Shion effectively did kill Rika. I had allowed Satoko to watch me take care of Rika's body. Of course, I let her see Rika's neck, too.
フルでリカは自業自得。あいつは私を殺しに来たんだよ。返り討ちにしたのさ。
You deserved it. You're a murderer.
そんなことあるわけありませんわ。リカがそんなことするわけない。
信じないならそれでもいいよ。
If Shion was such a cartoony villain, it wouldn't be that impactful. Yeah, but I still hate her.
あんたにはどうでもいいことだし。
私をどうするつもりなんですの？
殺す。
Satoko's eyes went wide. She was expecting my answer, I'm sure, but she still looked shocked. I bet she didn't expect me to state it so openly. I heard the noise of something hitting iron bars echoing in the huge cave. Shion's voice echoed in there as well. I answered her clearly.
今頃罪が分かったかい？あんたはそれをサトシ君の時にしなかった。
So I think the moral of the story is never build an underground torture bunker in your house. Because some nutcase is going to get control of it.
だからサトシ君は虫けらのように殺されてしまったんだ。あんたはサトシ君を救える100億の瞬間を見捨てた、見殺した。
Mion, the one in the cell. If I change it to the original art style, can you use the gun you have in that art style to just shoot Shion in the face? I would really like that. I would really like that. I don't think that's gonna actually happen, though.
そうさ、それがあんたの罪なのさ。
Before even finishing my sentence, I grabbed Satoko's right arm. Her blood started to flow out. This was nothing compared to what happened to Rika Furide. I twisted the knife into Satoko's arm. She bit down hard, crying, "Ow!" Oh no. This is gonna be hard to get through. Why couldn't you say that for Satoshi-kun? I hate you so much. Oh, man. Ugh. You haters who, when you say you love Shion, you love the writing of her character, that your feelings on her changes as much as hers does. Okay, here's the thing, though. If you're gonna say that you love... If you want to say that Shion is a well-written character... Okay, that's an argument. But if you say you love Shion, I'm assuming that that means you like her character and be like, oh, yeah, she's likable. Like, no! Not even a little. Yeah, well, it's too late now. I was the one screaming like you back then. But no matter how loudly I screamed, it never reached them, spared them, or saved him. I want you to go through the same thing I did. I stabbed Satoko's arm repeatedly, but the knife kept hitting her bone. It didn't feel like I was cutting any of her flesh. It's Dang, okay, her voice actress is incredible. But it's weird that Mion is screaming far more and Sato is just like, ouch, ow, oh, that's mildly inconveniently painful. Maybe it's just like guttural instinct, but Sato was not really screaming.
よーし、シオン。じゃあこうしよう。サトコの助け方を教えてあげよう。
You love Shion, but you have the benefit of having experienced all the arcs. Okay, maybe I'll hold off on my judgment until all the arcs are done, but, At least at this point, I really don't see any possible way I could ever like Shion. Like, truly, I don't think I will ever feel bad for her, ever, after what she's doing here.
あんたはこれから1000回ごめんなさいって言うんだよ。言い終わったら聡子を解放する。どう？私は嘘をつかないよ。あんたが1000数えたら絶対に約束を守る。
Yes, you do. Like, almost everything you've said in the last, like, 5 hours of gameplay has been a lie.
あんたがけじめをつけたってことをちゃんと理解してね。さあ、どうするの？ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。
Shion started to apologize like a broken record. She's so stupid and honest. She's not even thinking of cheating. I bet Shion really will count to 1,000. I stabbed Satoko in the wrist. There, I felt something hard. I guess I either crushed her bone or scraped it. It must have been extremely painful for her. Satoko screamed. You're the worst! No, you are evil. Shion's voice got louder as if trying to overpower that scream.
泣くのはあんたの1000倍特許だね。泣けばニーニーが来てくれる？ニーニーがかけてきて私を跳ね飛ばしてあんたを助けてくれるのかな？
Shion is insane enough that if Satoshi actually burst through the door and is like, "You evil person, like murder my sister down," she would be like, "You're not the real Satoshi. He would never say anything nice to his sister and kill him too." Like, she's completely gone. The knife was still in Satoko's wrist. I slid it towards her elbow.
Satoko? 私の声が聞こえる？
I don't want to play this game anymore.
聞いてる？聞けよこら！
I've slapped her face several times and made her look at me.
あんたは自分の罪が分かってる？
Nothing.
あんたの存在がどれほどにサトシ君を追い詰めていたか知っている？そう。あんたはニーニーって泣けばよかった。泣きさえすればいつもサトシ君がかばってくれた。
I can't believe I'm saying this. Bring back the uncle.
でもね、サトシ君の負担ってものを考えたことがある？サトシ君はね、あんたのヒーローでなければ不死身でもない。あんたと同じね。傷つけば血も流れ、痛めばうめく、全く同じ人間なの。あんたの代わりに矢面に立ってくれたサトシ君の痛みをあんたは理解していたの？してない。しようとさえしなかった。あんたはサトシ君に甘えてた。サトシ君に寄生していた。そうさ、サトシ君が傷ついて流すその血を舐めてお前は生きてきたのさ。そんな呪われた身でありながらこの後に及んでまだサトシ君の名を呼ぶのか？
Would the uncle care? No. But Satoko is actually better off with her uncle than with Shion. Also, the uncle could run Shion over with his motorbike.
あんたはその罪を今から償うのさ。私の手によってね。
The uncle would probably take out the popcorn to watch. Hey, Toasty, how's it going? The uncle would probably not crucify Satoko. Yeah.
好きなだけ泣き叫べばいい。
He's a terrible person, but he's not like strapping her to a torture chamber and torturing her.
そしていくら泣いてもサトシ君が助けに来てくれないことを知るがいい。そう、お前が追い詰めた、お前がいなくした、お前がサトシ君を殺してしまったんだ。
Ha! 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 After telling her all I'd been wanting to, I exhaled roughly.
どうしたよ。右腕はもう感覚がない。じゃあ左腕にするか。
I stabbed her left arm repeatedly and let the blood flow out. But Satoko's reactions weren't fun anymore. She didn't cry or scream like she did before. That put me in a bad mood, so I stabbed the back of her left hand and twisted the knife again. But Satoko still just moaned. She didn't scream anymore.
どうしたの？叫ぶと私を喜ばすと思って せめて悲鳴を絞って抵抗ってわ
See,
け。
this is how you know she's just absolutely vile and evil. She is actively like, I want to hear you scream while you're doing this. Like,
そりゃいいや。
Satoko was unfazed by my mad laughter. She looked at me with gritted teeth and resignation.
ええ、私もそう思ってましたのよ。
は？
私がニーニーを追い詰めたからいなくなってしまった。
No, I don't think that's the case. I think there's something else going on.
ニーニーがいなくなったその日にもう気づいてましたのよ。私が甘えていたニーニーのすねをかじり続けてしまった。ニーニーも辛かったはずなのに、私はニーニーにすがることをやめられなかった。
I do not believe that a girl as young as Satoko who's going through this torture would be able to speak this coherently on a topic like this.
その点につきましては、あなたの言う通りですわ。弁解の余地なんてありませんでしたよ。
Satoko didn't sound as if she were mocking me or trying to please me. She spoke so naturally.
ちょっと意外だね。あんたが自分の罪に自覚があったとはね。
ニーニーはきっと帰ってきてくれる。いつかきっと帰ってくるんですの。でもね、帰ってきたら私もう一人前になっているところを見せるんですのよ。私もうニーニーに甘えない。背中に隠れたりしない。しっかりした一人前になったことを教えてあげるんですの。
帰ってきたらいいね。帰ってきたら。
I stabbed Satoko's arm in a mad frenzy, but she still didn't scream. She bit down tightly and swallowed her pain instead.
ニーニーはきっと帰ってきてくれますの。絶対に。それまで待ってるんですのよ。そしてニーニーに今まで甘えてきて本当にごめんなさいって謝るんですの。
Maybe Shion's imagining this because she has a conscience? I don't think she has a conscience anymore.
それまで負けるものか。負けるものか。もう私は絶対にニーニーに甘えたりしないの。どんな苦難にもニーニーの助けを呼ばない。呼ばない。泣かない。叫ばない。泣いたらニーニーが来てしまう。だから私は一人で耐えてみせるんですのよ。
If Satoko acted more like an actual child being tortured, you probably couldn't watch it, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty hard to watch anyways, but point taken.
上等抜かすな小娘が。私をいじめて楽しいならいくらでもお楽しみ遊ばせ。でもね、それで私がニーニーに助けを求めたりするのを期待しているんでしたらお気の毒ですわね。私は泣かないんだから、絶対に疑う
And Satoko wins.
なら好きなだけ試してみろ。ニーニーは見ててくれる。私が本当に我慢強くなって一人前になったことを見ててくれる。私が泣き虫じゃなくなったことを見ていてくれる。
I know this turns into like chapter 2, so it's not gonna happen, but man, imagine if Satoshi showed up and just like shot Shion right in the face as she watched it happen, as the ultimate sign of like, yep, you're the worst.
それをニーニーが見届けてくれたとき、きっとニーニーは帰ってきてくれるんですのよ。さあ、いくらでも試してみろ。私は泣かない。涙も見せない。北条聡子がどれほどの強さを持つか試してみろ。
Shit! I'll show her! Take that and that and that!
ニーニー、見てますわよね。聡子はこんなにも我慢強くなったんですのよ。もう何が起こってもへこたれませんの。こんなことをこの程度で、こんなくらいで私は泣かない。助けを呼ばない。耐えられる。耐えてみせる。ニーニーが私に代わって傷ついてくれた痛みには
This is definitely a lot worse than what he had to go through for
は
you,
るか
but
に及ばないんだから。
inspiring, Satoko. Shit! Why doesn't she feel the pain? Doesn't it hurt? You probably cut off her pain receptors at this point. There's no way it doesn't! I've been stabbing her so much and the knife went in so deep. Her blood was poured to the ground and I've been turning her flesh inside out. How can she still talk that way? Why doesn't she cry and scream? See, this is, yeah, she's literally intentionally trying to make her scream. She's the absolute worst, she is the most evil character in this story. After Satoko said what she wanted to say, she shut her mouth. She didn't say a word after that. No matter how much I stabbed her, twisted the knife, tore at her, and ripped out her flesh, she didn't even make a sound. What in the world is this? This isn't the Satoko I know. Satoko was never as strong as this. If Satoko was this strong, she wouldn't have been a burden to Satoshi-kun. Why wasn't she as strong before? It's too late. Everything is too late. This idiot's maturity came far too late. Her blood made my hands slippery and I dropped the knife. Oh, did you drop it on your foot? I hope so. I was covered in blood from head to toe. Satoko was still enduring the pain. She was enduring this cruelty so she could display her strength. I couldn't defeat Satoko. I couldn't crush her strength. Satoko had achieved her goal. She had become independent, so she didn't need Satoshi-kun anymore. She still believes Satoshi-kun will come back one day. She looks forward to a day when she can show her brother how strong she had become. But Satoshi-kun hasn't seen any of that. Instead, I, who never even thought that Satoshi-kun could come back, as the one who witnessed her strength. What was I thinking? I thought Satoshi-kun was dead. No, I assumed he was. Why did I? I never even thought of waiting for him. I didn't believe that he would come back. I didn't wait. I tried to avenge him. But I guess what I really did was forget about him. Satoko is different. She never even thought he was dead. No, maybe she did a little. But even so, she waited. She waited for a day when she would show him how much she had grown. She'd waited patiently. What about me? I didn't do anything. I wanted to forget about my sadness, so I tried to find my enemy. I became a demon, using revenge as an excuse so that I didn't have to think like a human. Even if that's the case, you're going way too far with the revenge. If you actually wanted, like, vengeance and justice, you would not have gone about it in this way. You're contradicting yourself, Shion. You wanted her to stand up for herself when she finally does. You're like, why are you not weak? Yes, she's the worst! She cannot ever be happy. Literally. She's addicted to misery, and she uses every possible justification to blame everything except herself. I lost. I couldn't endure the pain of waiting for Satoshi-kun, so I chose to become a demon. In other words, I got rid of my soul, and that soul that loved Satoshi-kun. In other words, I got rid of Satoshi-kun himself. Satoko won. While she had been gritting her teeth before, her mouth had gone slack. Her eyelids were half shut, but I could see her eyes a little. They looked like she was dreaming about something happy. Satoshi-kun was there in her eyes. Satoko endured until Satoshi-kun came for her. Satoko ran up to Satoshi-kun. Oh, these poor two. They deserved a lot better. She jumped onto him. Satoshi-kun hugged her, and they spun around. You can cry now. Satoshi-kun told Satoko that, and she cried very hard. Satoshi-kun rubbed her head so gently. We'll be together forever, he said, and continued to rub her head so gently, so gently. Satoshi-kun, I was waiting for you too. What meaningless words. He was already dead inside of me. I never believed in our reunion. How pitiful of me to say that, just because I saw Satoko and Satoshi-kun together again. As Satoshi-kun hugged Satoko, his eyes met mine. Shion. Satoshi-kun said, I asked you a favor. What favor? He told you to look after Satoko, and then you tortured her and murdered her instead. He is very disappointed in you. I tried to remember. What kind of favor did Satoshi-kun ask me? Satoshi-kun looked at me so sadly, because I couldn't remember. Yeah, I'm just saying, if I have a little sister, if I knew somebody who I cared about had tortured and killed my sister, I would not be looking at them sadly. I would not be looking at them for very long. They would not be looking at me for very long. They would not be able to look for very long. Enough said. That sad look tore my heart to shreds. Yes, poor you. You are the victim in all this. Nobody else, right? The blood flowing out from me wasn't as pretty as Satoko's blood. My blood was a slimy liquid, like vomit with filthy chunks of food in it. You said it, not me. That was what filled my body.
たたりだろうと、この村の何者かの陰謀だろうと、僕は絶対に消えない。消されない。
消えないよ、サトシ君は。
消えないよ、サトコに。あのぬいぐるみを買ってやるまではね。
Will do, Shirley. I will make sure I tell her I love her.
もうすぐお給料がもらえることになってる。その日までは絶対に消えない。
Huh? A memory of the past. But when? Of course. This is a memory of the day before last year's Watanagashi. Satoshi-kun called me on the phone then.
あ、おばさんが帰ってきたからもう切るよ。
あ、うん。
ミオン。
何？
His aunt was home, so I'm sure he wanted to hang up as quickly as possible. Satoshi-kun paused and spoke.
サトコのこと頼むからね。
Oh, when you said I leave Satoko to you, I thought you meant you'll leave, like, her death in my hands. I didn't realize you wanted me to be your friend. My knees and elbows started to shake. My teeth chattering and my fingers were shivering. Satoshi-kun asked me to... Oh, boo! Boo! No, do not even try to make me feel bad for you. It won't work, you disgusting human being. What have I done? I couldn't wait for Satoshi-kun to come back, so I filled myself with evil thoughts and acted as I pleased. Yes, you did, and you chose to do that, and you had no regrets at all. I didn't believe he'd ever return. I even forgot about Satoshi-kun's last request. How can I say I love him? You don't. I just wanted to forget about my feelings of loss, so I made myself all bloody. How can I welcome him back now? You're not ever gonna welcome him back. You kidding me? I didn't believe Satoshi-kun would come back. I didn't believe Satoshi-kun was alive. I didn't think he was alive, so I thought he was dead. I believed in his death. I killed him in myself. Nobody else did. I did that. But Satoko believed until the very end, and she was rewarded in her final moments. Satoko wasn't here anymore. She had no more need for her bloody, painful shell. But I'm still here, trapped in my bloody, tainted flesh. I'm going to rot inside of it. Satoshi-kun was waiting for both Satoko and me. No, he wasn't waiting for you at all. You crazy bee. But to be reunited with Satoshi-kun, we had to keep our promises. Satoko's promise was to be strong. Satoko kept that promise until the bitter end, and Satoshi-kun embraced her. My promise was to take care of Satoko for Satoshi-kun. I never kept the promise from the beginning. Therefore, Satoshi-kun will never embrace me. That's the least of your problems, Shion. Yeah, I'm still calling her Shion. She deserved it. Even if I were to rub Satoko's wounds and ask her if they hurt, that wouldn't mean anything. That was when I felt something behind me. It wasn't Satoshi-kun or the thing that scared me before. I didn't know who it was. But it was right there, criticizing me for my mistakes. She's talking about me! She's talking about me! I'm the one behind her criticizing her for her mistakes. Yes! You deserve it. Then, I finally realized it. That thing is me. I'd always been there, standing behind myself and watching me break that promise. Satoshi-kun asked me to take care of Satoko, yet I didn't keep that promise. I'd been watching that happen. Yeah, you were too busy with your imaginary boyfriend and trying to kill everybody. I cried and gave up on myself. Wait, Satoshi-kun gave up on me, and I gave up on myself. What will happen to me now? I don't want to be in this darkness. I don't want to be all bloody. Then you shouldn't have tortured people! Please don't leave me. If I give up on myself, what will happen to my body? There will be nothing left. The only thing I'll have left is an evil demon. Oh, I get it. I've known it for a long time now. I am nothing but a demon. Nope, just a terrible human. A demon doesn't feel sad. A demon's heart can never be in pain. A demon doesn't cry. Shion was still apologizing. She believed that this was the only way for her to save Satoko. Her voice was growing hoarse and weak.
Shion! もう
I guess she realized what happened to Satoko. Shion cried in her cell. Yep, time to kill Keiichi for no reason now.
鬼ってのも悪くないね。人が泣いたり叫んだりするのを見るのがこんなにも楽しいものだなんて知らなかったよ。
Yeah, your outer words are completely at contradiction with what you're trying to convince us that you're feeling inside.
私も人の世ってやつを十分に楽しませてもらったからね。
Yeah, I'll say it. I will never feel bad for Shion again. Ever. Anytime in any future chapter the game tries to make me feel bad for Shion, I'm just gonna say, you crucified a 10-year-old abuse victim. That's it! That's all you have to do! That is literally what she just did. That trumps everything. I don't care how sad her backstory is. I don't care what she goes through. You crucified a 10-year-old abuse victim. You're the actual worst.
そのうち自らの命を絶って鬼の国へ帰らせてもらうよ。でも安心しな。その前にちゃんとあんたは殺していた。
My theory, Shirley, as to why she can't kill Keiichi or why she's hesitant is she's gonna start seeing him as Satoshi. That's what I think is gonna happen.
あんたを殺すために今があるんだもの。私はそのためにいる。人を嘆かせて泣き声をすするのが私の鬼の優越だもんね。そうだ。あんたはケイちゃんが好きだったね。よし。あんたの前でケイちゃんを引き裂いてあげるよ。
She's literally just doing it because she hates Mion that much.
これは極めつきだね。その後にあんたを殺し、私も殺そう。そうさ。鬼ヶ淵村は鬼の村。かつて鬼ヶ淵より湧き出した鬼が村を襲った伝承のある村。私もまた伝承の鬼たちのように猛威を振るい、そしてお社様の裁きを待とう。
I now am starting to think that what happened at the end of chapter 3 is that Shion poisoned the water supply and killed everybody.
それ
Just for funsies.
ひなみ沢村にふさわしい災禍と言えるだろうね。
Cheerleader, you just said it. Did she faint?
あ、ケイちゃんですか？
Yeah, and look at that! Instant switch! Boom! Now she's like, oh, I'm so worried now.
私です。シオンです。
Now this is the phone call of crazy.
電話、なかなか出なかったんで、お留守かと思って切ろうとしてたんですよ。
ごめん。
Because Keiichi's gonna deduce it all now.
ちょっとお風呂に入っててさ。
それでも、ご家族の方が電話を取りませんか？ひょっとして、ケイちゃんの家、今ご両親はお留守なんですか？
Don't tell her that.
いや別に留守ってわけじゃ。そんなことより聞いたか？リカちゃんとサトコの件。
いいえ。結局あの後どうなったんですか？見つかったんですか？
見つからなかった。
ケイちゃん、どうか気を落とさないで。
リカちゃんとサトコはさらわれたんだよな。
はい、それは間違いないでしょうね。
リカちゃんとサトコは。いや、ごめん。村長さんは
Best liar ever. Keiichi,
さらわれて
yep.
どうなったと思う？まだ生きてるんだろうか？
Keiichi sounded confused. He wanted to believe Satoko and Rika were still alive, which is why he was asking. Keiichi was just like Satoko. Unless the culprit was after money, the abductee would usually get killed right away. I'd never assumed they'd still be alive. But Keiichi was trying to hold on to a little hope. I could feel his strength. It was much greater than mine. I am a demon, so I didn't come up with an excuse.
殺されちゃったんだと思います。
おいおい、そんなにあっさり。
人間をさらってその状態を維持するのってとても大変なことだと思います。人質にするんでもない限り、用が済んだら殺しちゃうのが一番合理的じゃないかと。
殺しちゃうって、そんなにあっさり。人の命を何だと思ってやがるんだ。
恐ろしいことだとは思いますが、多分そうではないかと。
村長が殺されたということは、リカちゃんやサトコも同じように殺されたかもしれないということなのか？いや、そんなはずは。どっかのじじいとはわけが違うぞ。リカちゃんだぞ。 子だぞ。そんなにあっさりと殺すはずは。
Keiichi was still refusing to believe what I said. He fought so hard because he didn't want to kill his friends within him. I wasn't like that. I killed Satoshi-kun within me so easily. I blamed Shion for not protecting Satoshi-kun, but I killed him so easily.
リカちゃんとサトコちゃんも同じだと思った方がいいでしょうね。
Great screaming, Keiichi. A+. We're in an anime after all. Keiichi roared and cried. It was like their deaths were physically agonizing to him. It's almost like he's not a sociopath like some other people. I know! He was just used as a pawn for all of Chapter 2. It's horrible. He's still the biggest idiot on planet Earth in Chapter 2, but, you know, I feel bad for him.
ええ、全くです。悪魔ですよね。
I laughed at myself. I was sure Keiichi didn't notice.
なあ、シオン、教えてくれ。どうしてこのひなみ沢では綿流しの夜に人が死ななければならないことになってしまったんだ。
Chapter 1, he was kind of bait for Issei. Yeah, kind of. At least he was definitely using him to try to get to the bottom of things. Chapter 3, well, you know, I'm gonna be frank, I really don't know what the heck happened in Chapter 3, because the ending just basically said, oh, by the way, nothing what we said happened actually happened. So, I don't really know what to make of that.
それは私が知りたいです。
もうダム計画との戦いは終わったんだぞ。なのに、どうしてまだ語り足りないんだ。どうしてだよ。どうして。理由があるなら言ってみろよ。
ケイちゃんの気持ち、私もよくわかります。ダム闘争はとっくの昔に終わったんです。なのに毎年、お社様のたたりという名の殺人と失踪が繰り返されている。なぜ？どうしてなんですか？全然関係ない人もいた。たたられるのに不相応な人だっていたのに、どうして？どうして？
それを俺が聞いてるんだ。
それを私だって知りたいんですよ。
Of course. The curse of Oyashiro-sama never existed. It was just a bizarre environment that allowed people to kill in the name of Oyashiro-sama. The environment and nothing more. Nothing would have happened unless there were demons who danced within it.
いいですか？お社様のたたりなんて非現実的なものは初めから存在しません。ケイちゃんの言う通り、村の何者かがお社様のたたりというもっともらしい大義名分を利用して綿流しのたびに殺しと失踪を繰り返しているんです。
No, but here's the thing. In Chapter 3, Keiichi killed a guy with a baseball bat. Very clearly. We spent multiple episodes focused on that. But then at the end, it's like, by the way, he didn't actually kill him. Because, like, Satoko was like, my uncle is still at my house, and he's still being a prick. And, like, at the end, where it was, like, basically listing all the people who died, it listed Teppei as dying on the same day that Satoko did for, like, the weird gas, like, leak, massive disaster thing. But so, like, what happened when Keiichi killed him? What's going on with that? And also, it doesn't make sense that, like, the toxic gas leaked from the swamp and killed everyone but Keiichi when Keiichi was right next to the swamp when it leaked out. Like, I literally don't know what happened at the end of Chapter 3, because it didn't make sense.
奴らは狡猾でした。たたりを都合よく利用して、村の旧敵を毎年2人ずつ消し去るシステムを構築していったんです。そしてこのシステムで今年は高野さんたちが殺された。
じゃあ2人で十分じゃねえかよ。どうして村長やリカちゃんやサトコまで殺されなくちゃならないんだよ。それに俺は過去のことは今さらどうでもいいんだ。リカちゃんとサトコがなぜ殺されなくちゃならなかったのか、その一点にしか興味はないんだ。どうしてなんだ。サトコには打ち明けですらないんだぞ。
How do we still have so much of the chapter left? We've only gotten one tip section, and we're 2 hours and almost 30 minutes into this stream.
どうしてサトコま
We
で。
have 4 more after the next one.
どうしてなんだ。
How much more plot can possibly happen? Satoshi-kun was speaking through Keiichi's mouth. How could I respond? Yeah, see, yeah, she's gonna start picturing him as Satoshi. I didn't know what to say. I could only feel myself being stabbed by the sharpness of those words.
ケイちゃん。もう。
Oh! F you!
私だって何が何だかわからないんです。西宮殿に忍び込んだあの晩から全てが変わってしまった。あの晩、高野さんたちが死んだと聞き、耳を疑いました。そしてすぐに気づいたんです。今度は自分が狙われる立場になったんだって。忍び込んだのは私たち4人。私とケイちゃんだけが都合よく許してもらえるわけがない。そう思った時、それがどれだけ心細くて恐ろしいことだったか。ケイちゃんにはわかりますよね。だから私、君吉のおじいちゃんに打ち明けたんです。君吉のおじいちゃん、そしてにっこり笑って、
Why has Kasai
シオン
not
ちゃんが
reached
ちゃ
out
ん
and
と
be
反
like,
省
where
し
the
て
heck
る
is
なら
Shion?
鬼隠しになんかなるものか
Why
って。
hasn't she returned to her apartment?
本当に笑いながら任せなさいって。
Well, so where are mom and dad in all of this? Bad parenting. I remembered Kimiyoshi speaking ill of Satoshi-kun. I killed him, but everyone in Hinamizawa did that. I wasn't the only one at fault. Look at this. Look at this. Absolutely disgusting.
ごめんな、シオン。悲しい気持ちのところに追い打ちをかけるようで。シオンは打ち明けたんだよな。君吉のおじいちゃん、つまり村長に。
はい。
いつ打ち明けたんだよ。
Yeah. Keiichi's tone was becoming sharper. The edge was cruel, but it was a sharp conviction. It wasn't a dull edge that caused excessive pain. It had a clean, pleasant sharpness to it.
村長さんは重い痔を患ってて、病院にかかっていたという話は知ってるか？
ケイちゃん、それが何か。
答えてくれ。知らないなら知らないと答えればいい。
痔だったのは知ってます。座る時とか辛そうでしたから。
That's why I made him stand on his tiptoes.
病院に通ってたんだ。どこの病院かは知ってるよな。
ごめんなさい。それはちょっと知りませんけど。でもケイちゃん、それが一体。
単刀直入に聞きたいんだ。シオンはいつ村長に打ち明けたんだ？
Busted.
どこで、いつ、大雑把でいいから教えてほしいんだ。
ケイちゃん、なんでそんなことを。
Very good, Keiichi Maibara. You know who I am, don't you? Listen to this. She's like sobbing and being like, no, please believe me. But inside she's just like, oh, he's good. Like she is an actual sociopath.
ありえない
Or
んだよ。
psychopath.
村長が失踪した日、朝から消えるまで、シオンには接触できる機会はありえないんだ。
そんな。
村長は朝一で誰にも内緒の大学病院へ一人で診察に出かけた。シオンは今この病院を知らないと言った。だから帰ってくるまで村長と接触することはできないはずだ。そうだろう。帰りの電車が事故で遅れたので、自宅に帰ってきたのは会合の始まる直前だった。つまり会合が始まるまでの時間にも打ち明ける時間的余裕はないんだ。シオンも一緒に会合に出たのか？そして会合の席上で打ち明けたのか？ここで打ち明けなきゃもう時間がないもんな。会合が終わった後、村長は帰宅途中で失踪するんだから。
You know what else? We enabled turn on choices at the start of this chapter, and we haven't gotten a single one. I will choose the one that gets Shion killed.
会合にで。
あの日、シオンが行くと言ったバイトすら君は欠勤してるんだ。もっと端的に言おう。君は俺と一緒に行った図書館以降 誰にも目撃されていない。
ケイちゃん、
その先シオンは綿流しの翌日に失踪したんだ。
Kind of, yeah. Bingo, Chie-chan. I'm impressed.
大石さんは君がすでに失踪していると言っているんだ。でも
Maybe Kasai's been
こうして
doing
毎
that.
晩俺に電話をかけてきてくれた
Maybe
だ
he
ろう。
told Iushi.
頼むシオン、俺が言ったことが間違ってるならそうだと言ってくれ。シオン、頼むから。
Corner me if you can throw fervor. Corner me so the demon inside can't come up with excuses so that it can't escape.
シオン、お前は村長に会ってなんかないんだ。もし会ったとしたなら
The only time I could possibly have seen him on that day was...
村長が会合を終えた後、すなわち失踪する直前、もしくは失踪してからしかありえないんだ。
Click. I screeched and screeched with laughter, then slammed down the phone. Very good, Kate-chan. That's right, it's me. I'm the one. Hurry and corner me. Hurry, let me be free. If you really want to be free, you could take your life right the heck now. You don't have to kill Keiichi as well. You're just evil. Was he going to tell the police, or was he going to come here by himself? I wondered which it would be. If the police came, I'd struggle as much as I was able. I'd see how good Oishi would be at catching a demon. If Kei-chan came here alone, that wouldn't be very smart of him. Yeah, but he's an idiot! He can't complain about being eaten by a demon then. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him gruesomely while Shion watches. Therefore, Kei-chan, you shouldn't hold back. I only ever thought you were just a funny guy. I never thought I could expect so much from you. We can't have 4 more sets of tips afterwards. There's not enough plot left. And we didn't even get the set of tips now! There is literally not enough plot left for there to still be 5 tip sections after this! Unless I'm doing my math wrong. We still have how many? We have 1, 2. Okay, we don't. We have 2 tip sections. I must have miscounted. Okay, that explains it. That still seems like more plot than there should be, though. Deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Yep. Took a long time for them to come for me. I had to wait until the following morning. I opened the gate without checking who was ringing the bell. I didn't even care who it was. If it was the police, I'd be fine. That'd be fine with me. If it was Kei-chan, could he defeat me? Keiichi and Reno were there. Hi. He's like, This is so dumb of them. They absolutely should have called the police for this. Like, no question. Keiichi's like, I don't like it. Reno's like, hi. We're still friends.
こんな時間に珍しいね。2人とも学校は？
学校は休んだよ。
ケイちゃんはともかく、レナも2人とも不良なんだからな。
I laughed.
立ち話もなんでしょ？入りなよ。
I didn't think Reno would come. I thought it would be either the police or Keiichi alone. I'll try tricking Kei-chan into coming with me to the underground storehouse. Reno, why don't you try to figure out that I'm attempting to do that and stop me? You too, Kei-chan. I figured if you figured out I was Shion, why don't you come figure out the rest? They technically did call the police. They didn't call them fast enough. I will act like a demon. I will struggle until the very last moment. So don't hold back. Please don't hesitate to kill a filthy demon like me. I wouldn't.
まず謝ることがある。
ケイちゃんが
No, you don't.
何を？
綿流しの晩、俺は神社の祭具殿に入ったんだ。
Oh, that's right. He still thinks we're 2 separate people. Well, no, he shouldn't. I didn't expect this to start with an apology. Okay, so he admitted his sin of entering the ritual storehouse. I guess that was manly of him. I don't even care if the storehouse is forbidden anymore. Whatever. That rule came from those who believed it was even a sacred place at all.
ミオ、おとといリカちゃんとサトコを呼んだろ。
覚えはないけど、そう思うに足る根拠があるなら聞かせてもらえる？
夕方過ぎのお夕食前の時間、リカちゃんが来たはずだよ。お醤油の大瓶を持ってお裾分けしてもらいに。
Rena spoke with confidence. She wasn't even trying to gauge my reaction. She was simply telling me the truth. That cleverness was very pleasant to see.
どうしてそう思う？
そんなに難しい話じゃない。みーちゃんも見たでしょ、リカちゃんの部屋。冷ややっこがあるのにお醤油がなかった。そして流しの下にあるはずの醤油の大瓶も瓶ごとなかった。
何それ？それが私のとこへ来る理由になるわけ？
Rena sure is sharp. I tried to beat around the bush, but she was confident in her conclusions. She was cornering me. She was doing such a great job, too. It really put me at ease. Okay, Demon. Rena knows what she's talking about. What kind of excuse are you going to come up with now?
長くなるから説明は省くけど、冷蔵庫の中身がみーちゃんの呼び出した話の内容まで如実に物語っちゃってるの。
There it is. This game is over. Rena, I was right about you. I don't like you. You really are just too sharp. Shion is so obtuse that she never even recognized this side of you.
これはとんだ名探偵が身近にいたもんだよ。まさか冷蔵庫の中身だけで電話の内容まで見破るとは。参ったな。参った。
I laughed like crazy. They looked worried. I laughed out loud because I was having so much fun. I sensed the poison inside of my stomach dissipating and felt free and refreshed.
ミオ、警察はもうとっくにお前を疑ってるんだ。この家も大石さんの部下が踏み込もうと今も様子を伺ってる。
Kei-chan was threatening me. He was telling me I couldn't run or resist, so I should just surrender and accept my fate. You aren't doing that intensely enough, Kei-chan. Shouldn't you go grab my collar and knock me to the ground? Today's the day I'm prepared to die. After that, they went easy. Because they just wanted to know the reason why Mion committed such crimes. You all are being too lenient about this. I agree! I'm a demon. I'm a murderer. Are you saying that if you can understand the reasoning, murder is okay? A demon is a demon. A murderer is a murderer. Whether their motive is to have fun, to live, or to take revenge, that makes no difference. It does make some difference. It's much different to kill someone in order to save your own life than it is to kill somebody because you like hearing the sound of their screams as you plunge a knife into their arms when they're a 10-year-old abuse victim. Why do you even want to know that? Why don't you just tackle me and take me to the police? I agree! I think it's stupid that they don't. Look there. The demon is trying to deceive you.
初めてご挨拶申し上げます。園崎本家当主跡継ぎミオンでございます。本日はようこそ園崎本家においでくださいました。当主お涼に代わりまして皆様にご挨拶申し上げます。皆様におかれましてはいろいろお尋ねになりたいことがおありの様子。私にお話しできることでしたら包み隠さずお話ししたいと存じます。
I then told them about the strange events that led to Onikafuchi Village becoming Hinamizawa, which Takano-san had told me about before. About half of it was the truth, and the other half was completely made up. I just made it sound like it was only natural that their best friend committed such a gruesome crime. Keiichi and Rena were still both overwhelmed by the history of Onikafuchi Village, which was swallowed by this gloomy fate. Oh well. I guess I made it sound interesting enough. I'm sure they enjoyed hearing me tell the story. But you know, I'm the one who committed the incidents that happened in the present time. What was the point of listening to those old folk tales? Are you thinking it will make your best friend's crime easier to swallow? You're just trying to satisfy yourselves. I'm a demon. I'm a murderer. I have sinned. These old folk tales have nothing to do with the crimes I've committed. The way those two listened to me so intensely almost made it fun. I told them that people used to make canned human meat and conducted gruesome research during the war. Those were things Takano-san told me. Hey, you two. Haven't you realized yet? Haven't you realized that what I'm talking about has nothing to do with what you're dealing with now? You both look so serious. You two are such fools.
ひなみ沢村を再び鬼ヶ淵村のように崇められるに足る神聖な存在に。それが我ら鬼ヶ淵村の末裔の悲願であり、園崎本家の鬼を継ぐ者の宿命なのです。
鬼を継ぐ者？
我が園崎本家は代々当主の名に鬼の一字を加える習慣があるのです。私の名前を手のひらにでも書いていただければ一目瞭然かと。
Cage tried to write Mion on his palm.
あ、本当だ。鬼という文字が含まれてる。
名前だけではありませんよ。この体にも鬼が刻まれているんです。
I stood up and made to show my bare back. Of course, I don't actually have a tattoo there.
いいよ、みーちゃん。見せる必要なんて
ありがとう。
I laughed a little. They must really believe that I'm their best friend, Mion. My goodness, the demon has won already. They were doing so well at the beginning, too. I eventually sat back down after I finished telling my made-up tearjerker stories. It's your loss if you all shed any tears now. I looked at Keiji. He wasn't crying, but he was overcome by emotion. I looked at Rena. Surprisingly, she still maintained an aggressive look, showing me her will to fight. Rena's the real winner here! She was not in Chapter 1, but she is here now. Yeah. Oh! Rena really does look like she's about to throw hands in this art style. That's incredible. Square up! I'm ripped! Oh, which one do I like most? I like them all, honestly.
でも、みーちゃんはリカちゃんとサトコちゃんを
Yes.
殺したんだよね。
You're good, Rena. You know what I just told you isn't an excuse for murder. You usually act like such a goofball, but that's not how you really are. You sure are something. You're far sharper than Shion.
他の人のことは殺してもいいとも言わないよ。でも、とにかくみーちゃんは
Rena's such a fascinating character.
リカちゃんとサトコちゃんを殺した。
She is kind of crazy. She went nuts in Chapter 1. But she seems like a sweet girl, at least when she takes her meds.
弁解はしないよ。私には鬼が宿ってる。
When she takes her meds, she's like Nagisa. When she doesn't take her meds, she's the exact opposite.
名前にも体にも心にも。でも手を下したのは鬼じゃない。
No, that was all you.
園崎ミオン。ミオンが望んだからリカちゃんとサトコが死んだ。
True.
それは変わらない。レナの言う通りだよ。
Come on, Rena. Try to figure out who I really am. You still believe Shion, my victim, is the real culprit. Poor Shion. I'm making Rena believe that you're responsible. That was it for Rena, though. She couldn't figure out that I was Mion.
自首しよう。
Rena spoke to Mion.
私たちも一緒に行くよ。親友を一人きりになんか
She ain't your
絶
friend
対にし
anymore.
ない。
She killed two of your ever friends.
泣くことレナには勝てないわ。
Wow. Shion just wants to be caught and be over with it now. No, she doesn't! She wants to lure Keiji alone so she can kill him gruesomely just to make her sister suffer. She's actually the worst. Too bad, Rena. I've won.
自分で自分の罪どのくらいになるかよくわかってる。たとえ自首が認められても多分もうここに帰ってくることもないと思う。だから最後にわがままを聞いてほしいな。
This is the part that is real. No. This is part one of Keiji being the dumbest human being alive.
何かな。
30分でいいからケイちゃんと二人きりにしてほしい。
Keiichi looked startled to suddenly hear his name. You're so insensitive, Keiichi. That's what made my sister cry.
ケイチ君、どうかな。
No, it's not. Him agreeing to this is part one of the dumbest thing he's
ケ
ever
イ
done.
チ君が嫌なら無理にとは言えない。
そうだね。嫌ならそれでもいいよ。私は鬼だもの。ケイちゃんはよそから引っ越してきた正真正銘の人間。相入れることなんてお社様が実在して仲介してくれない限り絶対にない。
Keiichi hesitated a little. Come on, Kei-chan, condemn me. Yes! Condemn me and tell me you'd never go.
ああ、
Idiot!
いいぜ。
ありがとう。
Fool! Yes! He's so
私からもあり
stupid!
がとう言うよ。
He is a dumb human being.
ケイチ君。
Rena stood up. As promised, she made to leave.
あ、いいよレナ。ここで待っててくれれば。
Is she gonna threaten us on the
ケイ
way
ちゃん
out?
とは庭をぐるりと回りたいだけだから。退屈だったら私の部屋へ行けばいい。漫画とか好きに読んでていいよ。あ、なんだったらお気に入りの単行本丸ごと持ってってもいい。
嫌だよ。みーちゃんの本はみーちゃんのものだもの。勝手にレナの家に持って帰れない。
あんたはこんな時に限っ
This
ていい子な
still
んだから。
technically is not chapter 2, though, because there are things that happen differently compared to chapter 2. I took Rena's head and rubbed it like Sachi-kun used to do to me.
じゃあ行こう、ケイちゃん。
The game was over. Too bad, Rena. At least this was more fun than if Kei-chan came alone. If he did, he could have asked me to run away with him after hearing my stories. Rena's eyes were like those of a judge. In those eyes, I sensed both affection and observance. I said 30 minutes, so she would probably only wait 30 minutes. If I took even a second longer, she'd call Oisi. I'm a little disappointed. Rena still thinks I'm Mion. She didn't manage to see through me. I thought someone like her would see the demon in me. I saw it! I'm so glad I called it back in chapter 2 that it was Shion the whole time. I guess I was wrong. Too bad. You think Shion is surprised at their naive feelings of forgiveness and acceptance? They are fools. Yes, they're so stupid! Dear Lord! It's actually unbelievable how stupid they are. Keiichi followed me after putting his shoes on.
腕組んでもいいかな。
Such a humble request.
別に構わないぞ。
You should. I took Keiichi's arm. It was as warm as Satoshi-kun's. I felt a bit bewildered.
私に腕を組まれたらなんだか緊張しちゃわない？
You should.
例えば急に関節技を決められちゃうんじゃないかななんて思ったりとか。
More worried that you're gonna rip my neck.
姉妹揃って同じことを言うんだな。思わないよ。全然。
He was remembering the time I'd held his arm in town.
シオンもケイちゃんのことが好きだったみたい。
そうなんだ。
I told him how my sister felt. Shion was with Satoshi-kun for a long time, but what they had was friendship. They never had anything more than that. You also didn't have anything more than that. In fact, I don't think you even had that. That was why she fell in love with Keiichi. If I were in her position, I also would have fallen in love with him. If Shion was able to fall in love with him, then I could fall in love with him too. Keiichi smiled gently. I almost saw Satoshi-kun in that smile. The Keiichi I knew was worthless and superficial. I never realized he could smile like Satoshi-kun.
ミオンとシオンは仲は良かったんだろ？
Nope.
さあどうかな。ケイちゃんは自分の右手と左手は仲がいいと思う？
え？右手と左手？それは仲がいいとか悪いとかそういう言い方で例えるものじゃないな。
そういう関係だから。仲がいいとか悪いとかそういう尺度では測れない関係。
We'd been together since we were born. We'd been living in this world as a pair. But I was Mion and she was Shion. Mion was treated specially, and I insisted on being her. Of course, that was unpleasant for Shion. Deciding to be fair, we switched places all the time. We know this already. We already know this. We were probably different from other identical twins. We didn't only like the same things or do the things the same way. We even managed to share our knowledge and experiences. When we talked about our experiences, we could share them. As Mion and Shion, we shared everything. That was why each of us were both Mion and Shion at the same time. No. Maybe Shion was the only one who thought that way. I was a little different than that. I was simply letting Shion be Mion once in a while. I was Mion, the successor to the Sonozaki family. I was supposed to be treated specially. I always thought it was my privilege. Just like everyone else has tried to distinguish between Mion and Shion, I also tried to distinguish between us.
例えば利き腕というものがあるように、右手と左手には間違いなく優劣の違いがある。もしも鍋つかみが片方しかなかったら迷うことなく利き腕にするでしょ。そういう差はあったんじゃないかと思う。だからといって左手がなくなったっていいなんて思う人は誰もいないはず。そんなよくわからない関係だね。
それは近くにいすぎるから見えなくなっているだけで、きっととても仲のいいことなんだと思う。俺は一人っ子だから、祭りの前日ミオンとシオンが二人してじゃれ合っているのすごく羨ましいと思った。
ないものねだりじゃないの。双子なんて昔は人をからかったりしてそこそこに面白かったけど、こうして互いがはっきりと異なる個性を持った今ではかえって邪魔なだけ。
As an older sister, I felt I was mean for thinking that way, so as punishment, I became Shion. Who am I? I never had a solid identity in the first place. I was Mion, then I was Shion. I should have just accepted that. But something has changed. I don't even know if I'm Mion or Shion anymore. Had I really been stupid enough to hope that Rena would figure that out for me?
シオンはまだ生きてる。
本当か？
Keiichi looked into my eyes. I nodded quietly.
うん。誰よりもむごたらしい死に方をさせてやろうとずっと考えて閉じ込めておいたけど、今日までその方法はとうとう思いつかなかった。
The fact that he just looks at you in the eyes as you say that, and he's just like, okay, let's go! This goes so far beyond stupid. Like, it's insulting how dumb this is. This was a lie. I've already come up with ideas, and I've already begun to execute them. I dumped the hag into the well in front of Shion. I dumped Kimiyoshi and Rika there. I even killed Satoko too. And right now I'm plotting to kill Keiichi, who Shion fell in love with. I am a demon. Any such gruesome act is simply pleasure to me. That's when I felt a warm hand rubbing my head. It wasn't Satoshi's hand, but Keiichi's. Yeah, he just rubbed her head after she admitted that she wanted to kill her sister in the most gruesome way possible. He's like, oh, what a kook! Keiichi and Satoshi-kun are totally different. Why did Shion fall in love with him? His rough hand didn't make me happy. Then he understood my feelings was just my imagination. I wasn't happy, and it didn't feel good. It didn't.
来て。私の罪のすべてを見てほしいから。でもそれはケイちゃんにとってこの上なく辛い光景かもしれない。
It will be. I'm going to commit my final crime. I'm going to let you see it. I'm going to let Shion see it. When I do, are you still going to think I'm your best friend? Poor Shion. Kei-chan is going to die thinking it's you who's killing him.
引き返すなら今だよ。ケイちゃんの中の園崎ミオンがどんな人かは知らないけれど、中に入ればそのミオンはきっと
変わらない。何度だって言う。園崎ミオンは俺の最高の親友だ。
You are such a fool. Yes! You don't sound cool at all. I don't understand human fiends because I'm now a demon. But I think I can understand why she loves you. I opened the iron door to the underground storehouse and beckoned Keiichi inside. Come on, Keiichi. This is obviously a trap, don't you see? This basement is transparently suspicious. Don't you think you should run for the police? Yes! But Keiichi was reckless. He swallowed, then stepped inside. Ha! You really are a fool. We went down the stairs to the basement and I led him into the torture room. Everyone is shocked their first time visiting this room. I used to be that way. Of course, Keiichi looked surprised too. But he was trying not to show it. Obviously, he wanted to express his shock at seeing this horrifying room. But he also knew that if he voiced that shock, that he would be rejecting his best friend who was trying to confess her sins to him. So he did everything he could to stifle his surprise.
大昔の当主の書き物によるとね、血のしぶきってのは犠牲者に負担をかけない割にはインパクトがあるんだってさ。綿流しは見せしめのショーだったから、私のご先祖様たちは様々なショーを考案してたんだよ。ほら、そこが鑑賞席なんだよ。綿流しは見せしめのショーだから、客がいなきゃ意味がない。
Keiji smiled quietly as he listened to me. No matter what cruelty came out of my mouth, he would embrace me. Was this really the superficial Keiji Maebara I knew?
みんなここで私が殺した。見てくれている観客はいなかったけど、私は綿流しを上手にやってみせた。いや、観客は一人だけいたかな。
え？観客？
私という鬼がミオンの執り行う綿流しをずっと見てたから。
I started to laugh. How many hints do you need, Keiji? When are you going to figure out I'm not really your best friend? Come on, hurry up. You're running out of time. The game is almost over. This was a game. This is a game of murder. I had killed people, using my revenge for Satoshi-kun as an excuse. The demon was trying to capture Keiji and kill him before Mion's eyes. But Keiji had a chance. If he figured out I wasn't his best friend, then he'd win. If not, he was out. When did I come up with that rule? I guess it was sometime today. Or did I come up with it just a minute ago? Since the two of them aren't too bright, I decided to be easy on them, I guess. You are Mion's best friends, right? Don't you believe in her? Have you already made Mion a murderer within yourself? Why don't you try to protect the Mion within you? Why don't you try to believe your friend can't be a murderer? If you could believe until the very end like Satoko did, you would have realized I wasn't Mion, your best friend, but just someone who looks like her. But if you can't, if you still believe that I'm Mion, then you're just like me. I killed the Satoshi-kun within me so easily, and you will do the same. You don't deserve to live.
向こうが牢屋。
シオンはそこにいるのか？
You're not going to make it. Once we reach Shion's cell, your time is up. The demon will win.
シオン！シオンか！
ケイちゃんなの？
Keiichi ran to the cell.
大丈夫か、シオン？怪我はしていないのか？
Shion screamed. I was standing right behind Keiichi. It was time. My preparations to kill the boy she loved were complete. For her, this was going to be the worst possible torture.
落ち着け、シオン。もう全部終わったんだ。全部。
Keiichi tried to quell Shion's distress by talking to her in a calm voice. It was such a funny sight. Keiichi was the only one who had no idea what was going on. Well, that's because he's the stupidest human being who ever lived on planet Earth.
ご機嫌はいかがだった？
もう誰の死を見るのも嫌。私が憎いなら早く私を殺してよ。憎いのは私なんでしょ。早く殺して
落ち着けってシオン。もう終わったんだよ。大丈夫なんだ。だから落ち着け。
安心しなよ。あんたは殺さない。まだまだ殺さないんだから。
It's game over! I gave you enough chances. You cornered me quite well once, but that was it. You couldn't figure out that I'm not your best friend Mion. You couldn't believe that Mion isn't a murderer.
ケイちゃんを殺さないで。ケイちゃんは何の関係もないでしょ。殺すなら早く私を殺してよ。もう誰が死ぬのも
そんなに死にたければこの男を殺した後にゆっくりとひき肉にしてやるよ。古式にのっとり獅子の先端から少しずつ
You ain't having time for that.
ガリゴリと削ってミンチにしてやる。あの肉引き器はあんたのために取っておいてあるんだからね。それともそれでケイちゃんをミンチにしてみせた方が
Yeah, Mion's
あんた
suffered
に
a
は
lot.
面白いかな。
Still think Satoko had it worse, though.
おい、いい加減にしろ。今さら怖がらせてどうするんだよ。
ダメ。ケイちゃん逃げて。
Here you are, demon. Go ahead and take my soul. I've been living my life to avenge Satoshi-kun, but that wasn't what he wanted from me. This was just for my own satisfaction. I couldn't even face Satoshi-kun, so I'll bring this to an end in the way I want. The world became a total mess. Satoshi-kun hates me and I hate myself too. I'm going to complete my revenge. I don't want anyone to sympathize with me. Oh, don't worry! I won't! Ever! I won't pretend I'm some tragic heroine either. You kind of tried to. I'm going to become a murderer that nobody could sympathize with. Well, congratulations, you succeeded. So please, grant a suitable final moment to me. I hope you get shot in the face unceremoniously. A bluish-white flash filled the huge cave. Keiichi fell down like a doll. Shion reached out to him from the other side of the bars. She screamed at me not to kill Keiichi. Go ahead, cry and blame me. Don't even think of offering your forgiveness. I am the most rotten existence in this world. So please grant me the worst possible ending. Shion begged me to desperately let Keiichi go. I simply abused her, slandered her, and disgraced her. The more Shion suffered, the deeper I'd fall into hell. It wasn't enough. It wasn't even close to deep enough. It wasn't deep enough to compensate for my sins. I dragged Keiichi to the table that I tried to put Satoko on and restrained him there. Keiichi began to move sluggishly. The stun gun must not have worked too well on him.
聞こえるかい、シオン。これから始めるよ。ケイちゃんの若い悲鳴をたっぷりと楽しみな。
Oh, our choice, eh? This is a choice? Are you kidding me? How is this a choice? This doesn't actually change what we do. At that time, I became aware of Keiichi's gaze, and then I turned around to face Keiichi. That's the same thing! You can't be aware of his gaze if you're not facing him anyways. This is one of the dumbest choices I've ever seen in a visual novel. And watch one of them lead to a bad end and the other lead to an also bad end, because there is no good end here. This is so stupid. I should have turned choices off. This is so dumb. What are the choices? How is this in any way making an impact on the game? I'll do the first one.
いい加減にしろ。
Keiichi's growl resounded from the pits of his stomach. What a delightful sound. It was like he wanted to rip me apart.
ようやくお目覚め。私、さっき嘘をついたね。シオンを一番むごたらしく殺してやろうと思って閉じ込めておいたけど、まだ思いつかないって言ったやつ。あれが嘘。
I smiled menacingly as I laid out the huge nails and hammers specially made for her the nail table.
あの子に自分のせいで死ぬ大勢の人の悲鳴をたっぷりと聞かせてからなかなかセンスいいでしょ。
They didn't die because of her, they died because of you.
お前は誰だ？
は？ミオンでしょ？園崎ミオン。恐怖で頭が変になっちゃった？
This is why adding choices to a game that never intended to have choices in the first place is stupid. Oh, it was added posthumously? Oh, that's really, really dumb.
違うな。お前が園崎ミオンであるはずがない。
My hand stopped dead in its tracks. Kei-chan? Shit. I decided it would be too late once we reached Shion's cell. So the name guessing game is already over. Oh well, whatever. Bring it on. I'll listen to you. This is your last chance.
へえ。じゃあ、私がミオンじゃなかったら、私は誰なわけ？
Come on, Kei-chan. Guess who I am? Try and save Mion, the girl who fell in love with you. And then I heard it. I most definitely heard it. Keiichi's mouth trembled as he spoke the words, yet his eyes shone with a strong conviction. And he spoke the truth.
シオンだな。
Wow. You're right. You actually won. You're amazing, Kei-chan. A strange feeling fills my chest as I shiver. I had convinced myself there was no way he could guess. But he did, and I couldn't help feeling a bit surprised. This Keiichi had yet to again pierce through my disguise.
お前はミオンじゃない。さっきまで一緒だったミオンを返せ。
Oh, so I should probably just turn the choices off in the future ones. Who are you?
え？
You aren't Mion, right?
え？だから私、ミオン。
No, that's not it. That wasn't what I meant. You aren't Mion.
どうして私がお姉じゃないって思うんですか？
I don't know. Just a feeling. In my mind, memories of the time Keiichi recognized me at the toy store had been revived. Yes. Even back then, Keiichi could tell I wasn't my sister Shion. I had feigned composure and offered to come back with a straight face, but on the inside I was shook. We were both capable of becoming Mion or Shion, but because I was the real Mion and was the only Shion legally on paper, reversing the roles was even easier for me. Our tones of speech, quirks, and even our auras. We had both mastered each other's habits so perfectly, even our own parents weren't able to tell us apart. In fact, wasn't that exceptionally sharp Rena not able to figure out I wasn't her best friend Mion after all, despite being so close? So why? Has this Keiichi ever actually seen through my disguise twice?
どうして私がお姉じゃないって思うんですか?
My ears perked up, eager to hear the answer. Keiichi's reply was a soft murmur like an insect's whisper as he gasped for breath in pain. His voice was so quiet, it was nearly inaudible, but I could almost recognize the words on his lips. Yes, just a feeling, he says.
へえ。
Yet again, it was just a feeling. Didn't he say the exact same thing to me that time at the toy store? How nice, how nice, what a splendid answer. You'd think why my sister of all people fell in love with me and him. However, no, rather it was exactly because of this. Along with my raving madness, the blood that was simmering in my veins until just now rapidly began to turn chill and coagulate, that's the word. If I were to describe it, it felt like stagnant muddy water flowing through a gutter. Even now, it was all so hilarious I could fall over laughing, but I didn't smile. On the contrary, my face was vacant and austere, like a no mask of frigid ice. And then, the darkness seeped into the innermost depths of my mind, and I was already partied with my self-restraint as a human being. I reach out and touch Keiichi's hair, matted with sweat and caked with blood. Keiichi whips his head away at once in disgust, as if we were staving off a housefly, and glares at me defiantly.
触るなこの鬼め返せミオンを返せよ
Yeah, this is not what happened in Chapter 2, so I probably picked the wrong choice.
俺の最高の友人だったミオンを返せ
Having lost liberty over his whole body, he continued to howl and cry as if he were spewing blood. I was supposed to have sold my soul to the devil to become a demon, but faced with such a bitter rejection, I felt the crumbled remnants of my emotions stir within me. Munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch. My throat begins to itch. The crooks of my elbows, my wrists, and every other joint in my body begins to tingle and prickle, and I feel irrationally restless. The more the restlessness and irritation piled up, the more this squalling, whimpering person inside of me felt bothersome, revolting, so awful I could slaughter him right away. To be frank, until just now, I had no intention of killing Keiichi. I was truly ready to spare at least his life, if he guessed the right answer. That was the rule I decided upon. Okay, I'll admit it. Just like Shion, I had also fallen in love with Keiichi. No, you haven't. He was incredibly silly and good-natured, unbelievably warm-hearted and gentle. Talking to him made me feel contented. Besides, I even sympathized with him. Unlike the lot I'd dealt with so far, Keiichi was indeed just a victim, caught up in my selfish revenge drama. Now that my revenge against the Sonozaki family was almost complete, I didn't mind saving him. That may sound too convenient, but perhaps the human side of me that was fond of Keiichi wanted to save him, in order to seek his forgiveness for my actions. But I've changed my mind. Now, having witnessed Keiichi guess the right answer before my very eyes, my heart was suffused with a staining, gaping, overpowering darkness, as if it were freezing over. Why? Why was Shion alone able to meet such a wonderful person? Satoshi-kun could only make a vague distinction between me and Shion. Satoshi-kun abandoned me and ran away. However, this Keiichi trusts Shion. He's defending Shion, whom he values as his best friend, by seeing through my lies. And as a result, he gave up on me. Detestable, maddening, despicable, enviable, so much that I want to kill them. That's right. The moment he defended Shion, he became one of them. He's equally guilty, you low-life scum. I despise you, I despise you, I despise you, I despise you, you fucking piece of shit! Munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch. Oh, what a nuisance. Shion's screams coming from the corner of the chamber were enjoyable before, but now they felt unbearably noisy and pissed me off. How about I just get rid of Shion first? I wanted to kill her after she had the most exquisite taste of anguish and terror, but now I could barely suppress the indiscriminate urge to slaughter welling up within me. Keiichi was relentlessly yelling his protests toward me. His throat closed up eventually, and he gasped for breath, hoarsely continuing to demand Mion's return.
Gei-chan?
Have a good night, Ruben. I hope you have a better night than Satoko did. Yeah.
メイドの土産なんて気の利いたものじゃないけれど、どうしても知りたがっているようだから、一つだけ教えてあげるよ。私の中に鬼が宿ったのはずいぶん前。その鬼は 私を蝕み強行に駆り立てようとした。だけれど私はそれを理解で
Yeah, right! You did not suppress it with any reasoning. You have no reasoning.
鬼はそれで収まり、私はその鬼はどこかへ行ってしまったんだと思い込んでいた。でも本当は違った。私の中から出て行ったんじゃなく、私の中で眠っていただけだったの。
Yes. When I learned about Satoshi-kun's disappearance, my ailing heart had crammed itself with rage to compensate for the despair. But that was the limit of my insanity. I would never have snapped. Time had healed me, and my memories of Satoshi-kun were neatly wrapped up and pushed into the back of my mind.
その鬼はある小さなことをきっかけにまた目覚めてしまった。それは何に原因があったと思う？
It really was the smallest of the smallest things.
鬼の私が教えるのも変だけれど、あんたがすべておかしくしてしまった原因。
No, it was all you. A tear rolled down my cheek. That's right. Back then, if you hadn't given the doll to Mion, none of this would have happened. What? You didn't give the doll to Mion.
ケイちゃんには理解できないだろうね。理解できなくて当然。だけどね、そこからドミノ倒しみたいに、パタパタパタと、
You're blaming all this on
いろん
the
なもの
doll?
が倒れ始め
No,
て、
you're a terrible person and it was
収
your
拾が
fault.
つかなくなってしま
All
っ
of it.
た。はじめの小さな一つを倒したあなたに自覚がないのは当然だろうけど、あなたが元凶なの。
Nope. Back then, if Keiichi hadn't shown any affection, Shion wouldn't have been overjoyed. She wouldn't have been overjoyed and cheerfully boasted about him to me. As I was listening to her, I was reminded of Satoshi-kun. I became jealous of her for having someone she loved so close to her. It was a very small jealousy, but it had awoken the demon who was sleeping deep inside of me. After that, I just let the demon take over. The demon fed upon the copious amounts of sadness I felt for Satoshi-kun, and in return committed the heinous acts that Satoshi-kun himself would never be happy with, all in the name of avenging him. And now the horrific events that had followed were inviting me into the realm of demons that had no return.
そんな嘘だろ。
Yeah, Shirley, you were right. She did say that he was a victim literally like 10 minutes ago tops. And she's already flip-flopped. Because she's a nutcase.
自覚がないのは当然。でも、紛れもなく元凶なのはケイちゃん。
Back then, if you hadn't chosen to give the doll to Mion, we could have arrived at a different future. He didn't, though! Mion literally was saying how sad she was that he didn't give the doll to her. No, that wasn't right. Wouldn't pinpointing Keiichi's small action at the beginning be the height of transferring blame? Yes. I was implying such a silly thing had awoken the demon inside me. Even without Keiichi's act, I would have been awoken anyway. At the end of the day, it was all my fault. Yes, it was. I didn't fight the demon. I allowed it to reside in my soul, and I readily offered it my heart. Keiichi didn't hide his tears. They were pouring down his cheeks. Maybe he was crying in my place, as I was not free to do so, having chosen to become a tearless demon. That's why I must go on, as the demon. There was no room for human emotions or hesitation anymore. And then, munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch, snap! Shion's wails rasping like silk tearing apart, along with my screams of ecstasy. The last thing I heard were those everlasting reverberations. Is that not the bad end, then? That is different than what happened in Chapter 2. June 1983. A case of serial disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone City. The suspect is Shion Sonozaki. Allegedly, she abducted, imprisoned, and killed 4 Hinamizawan residents, Oryo Sonozaki, Kichiro Kimiyoshi, Rika Furude, and Satoko Hojo, between June 19th and the 21st. Preliminary investigation into the incident was delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence, but by chance, the case was solved rather abruptly. On the morning of the 22nd, a patrol vehicle stationed outside the Sonozaki mansion heard screams from within, and personnel infiltrated the premises as an emergency measure. The suspect's missing elder sister, Mion Sonozaki, and 2 of her classmates, Keiichi Maibara and Rena Ryugu, were taken into custody. And now we know that this was the bad end because Keiichi died, and Keiichi refuses to die from anyone but himself. Yeah, that's it. However, Keiichi Maibara, who had previously been lured into the crime scene, had sustained stab wounds perpetrated by the suspect. He was immediately transferred to an emergency unit, but they were diagnosed as a minor injury. Having been the one with the utmost opportunity to engage in conversation with the suspect until the very end, he will be subject to interrogation once he's recovered from the shock. Furthermore, the apprehended suspect was found collapsed at a place approximately 2 meters away from where Keiichi Maibara was restrained, and sustained scratch wounds on her throat. She was also transferred to an emergency facility, but was pronounced dead on 13/48 on the 22nd. The official autopsy determines that the immediate cause of death was a hemorrhagic shock due to excessive blood loss. Hair, pieces of skin, and blood of the 4 missing people, Oryo Sonozaki, Kichiro Kimiyoshi, Rika Furude, and Satoko Hojo, were recovered from the hidden chamber that was discovered in the outbuilding basement of the Sonozaki family property, where they were supposedly killed. It was concluded that the victims were assaulted in that hidden chamber. The victims' bodies were discovered at the bottom of an old well, as per the testimony of the victim, Mion Sonozaki. In addition, investigations continue into any possible connection to the series of mysterious deaths in recent years, but no evidence of Shion Sonozaki's direct or indirect involvement have been found. There are still many obscurities on the motive of the incident, but due to an extreme non-cooperation from the Sonozaki family and the residents of Hinamizawa, a large amount of time will be required to clarify matters on this front. See, here's the problem. The problem with the plot twist that Shion is actually Mion and Mion is actually Shion. When they say that the victim, Mion, they have the testimony of Mion Sonozaki, which one are they talking about? The one who did all the crazy killings or the one who was imprisoned? It's impossible to figure out now. So I don't think that was actually a good move on their part. It makes it needlessly complicated. The local police who are familiar with the region offer that this may have been an internal lynching incident as punishment for the sacrilegious acts carried out against Hinamizawa's religious beliefs. It has been established that the incident is unique and rooted in the regional community beliefs, and a cautious investigation has been ordered by the prefectural police. We expected to gain valuable hints from the missing person and the suspect's sister, Mion Sonozaki, who was under confinement for the longest time period, but it was observed that she had sustained severe mental trauma from the incident, and her inquiry has been postponed in favor of her psychological and physical recovery. According to her primary care physician, although her condition is fairly serious, there is a strong prospect of recovery, as she is at present undergoing rehabilitation with support from her close friends. Several weeks have passed since then. After that incident, I was rescued by Uisi-san and his team, whom Rena had summoned. Yay, Rena's the winner here! I had no other after effects aside from the consciousness that had been wiped white. If I were to have any at all, it would be the deep scars that have been left inside my heart. As I was being examined at the hospital, I was subjected to various queries from Uisi-san. I tried to answer him with whatever little I knew, but I had no idea if I met his expectations, and neither did I bear any responsibility to do so. From what I had heard, Shion had already lost too much blood by the time the police arrived, and she had stopped breathing. They urgently called for an ambulance and took her to the clinic, but there was barely any time for first aid, and she took her last breath. I wouldn't have called an ambulance for her. She deserved it. The silver lining was that Mion, who had been captive in her cell, was safe and taken into custody by the police. At least she's alive, but she's probably would wish she wasn't. Up until the moment I lost consciousness, I was afraid that Shion may fly into a rage and murder Mion, but I was just glad that we had managed to avoid the worst-case scenario. Only when Mion was rescued was she emaciated and sustained several periodic psychological trauma. That's not the word I said, but alright. Apparently at the time of her rescue, she had been completely unable to respond to the police's questions. Right now, Mion is admitted at a large hospital in the vicinity and is undergoing treatment for her psychological and physical injuries. In the beginning, when Rena and I went to visit, her eyes were downcast in desolation and she looked completely worn out. It was a horrible state to be in. Yeah, that's very different. Yeah, this is not how it happened in Chapter 2, so this is different, but it probably explains a lot of what did happen in Chapter 2. But despite it all, as of late, she is on the way to her recovery, finally well enough to show us a few smiles. Of course, we have been careful to not bring up Satoko or Rika-chan, and especially Shion. The police later conducted an on-site investigation at the Sonozaki house's underground storehouse, several days after the incident took place. Particularly, the well inside Satoko and Riku-chan's bodies were disposed of by Shion was carefully surveyed by the prefectural forensic investigators, and true to Shion's testimony, the girls were discovered. Apparently, sediment had accumulated at the bottom of the well, and hence the discovery had taken several days. Along with Satoko and the other victims, skeletal remains that were several years, even several decades old, were found. But it's not like I would know that much about that. Even when I was once summoned back to that place to assist with the crime scene investigation, but I really didn't help them find anything important. The Sonozaki family in Okinomiya, in other words, Mion and Shion's parents, came home every day several times along with many of their followers to formally apologize. And no matter how much my parents refused, they kept piling up banknotes worth millions of yen as compensation. And once that money had been piled up and reached a certain amount, on the same day there came an envelope with a letter instead. I have no idea what was written in that letter. But my parents had discussed amongst themselves for 2 nights straight without consulting me, and decided we would move away from Hinamizawa. Probably a smart move.
そっか。
Oh. I'm sorry, Rena.
引っ越しちゃうんだね。いつ？
来月の終わり。ひなみ沢には結局半年も居つかなかったことになるな。
寂しくなるね。きっとみーちゃんも悲しむよ。
悪い。ミオンにも正直話すべきか迷ってる。
This is where, because still my theory is because Keiichi lost consciousness, and then they found Shion's dead body and Mion in the cell. I think that she did the swap. I think that evil Shion basically let Mion out, killed her by like making her claw her throat out or whatever, threw it next to him, and then locked herself in the cell and pretended to be the victim. That's what I think happened. Once Rena has heard me say that, she strongly insisted I had to tell her no matter what.
確かに今みーちゃんにそれを告げるのは酷なのかもしれない。でも圭一くんが黙っていなくなっちゃう方がきっとみーちゃんは辛いと思う。だから一緒に話しに行こうね。
Is she still in the hospital? If so, then maybe.
ああ、そうだな。
Okay. That does look like the actual Mion, but I guess I don't know for sure.
そっか。ケイちゃん、ひなみ沢からいなくなっちゃうんだ。
Even though she had heard it from me, Mion whispered those words sadly, but she didn't seem that surprised. Surely she had mentally prepared herself for this outcome somewhere inside her heart.
すまん。けど俺、いつかひなみ沢に戻ってくるつもりだ。約束する。
いいよ、無理しなくても。ここに来ても、きっとケイちゃんにいいことなんて何もないんだから。
みーちゃん。
But Frenna and I wanted to say it wasn't so. But after such a tragic incident, what verbal consolation could we offer that would help? To Mion, who had suffered a much greater pain than we ever had. And so we just stood there, unable to say anything, just wallowing in silence.
私も東京に行こうかな。
え？
来週退院できるらしいんだけど、ここにいてもいいことあんまりないし。
Yeah, but in chapter 2, Mion showed up at his house at night, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's her!" Okay, because keep in mind, he knew that the one who was trapped in the cell, who was innocent, died. And then he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is a real one," and then she stabbed him. That was part 2 of him being the stupidest human being ever. And then she apparently jumped from her balcony at the end of chapter 2, but then she also showed up in the hospital room, but I'm pretty sure that Keiichi was just hallucinating that because he was crazy.
東京でなくてもどこか遠く、私のこともひなみ沢のことも知らない土地に行きたい。
That might be the best move, honestly, after something like this.
やり直せるなんて都合のいいことは考えてないけど、もう疲れちゃった。全部投げ出したいよ。
ミオン。
Mion had been forced to carry the name of the next head of the Sonozaki family and the representative of the three great families, all due to a small misunderstanding. You just came out. This is a completely different ending from the original series? Oh, this is an alternate ending? Despite feeling uncertain and weary about her unplanned responsibility, she had nevertheless been earnest and given her all to fulfill her duties. But to think all of that had been concluded in such a manner. It was a tremendous loss that it's almost a surprise she hasn't completely lost her mind. Who can really blame Mion anymore for making such a faint-hearted remark? And so I wanted to devote even a little bit of my remaining time here for her.
そうだな、ミオン。一緒にどこか行くか。
え？どこへ？
決まってるだろ。旅行だよ。俺がここにいられる期間はもうあまりないけど、だったらせめて少しでもいい思い出を取り返
Assuming
してお
this
かないとな。
actually is the good twin, that's very sweet. But on the chance that it's the bad twin, this is very stupid.
東京はちょっと遠いけど、大きな町とかに足を伸ばしてうまい飯とか買い物とかさ。どうだ？
どうって言われても。
You heard about this ending? I heard people didn't like it. We'll see about this.
それとってもいいと思うな。
Given the stuff that happens up to the point of making the choice, I don't see any ending being good.
行っておいでよ、みーちゃん。ね。
けど、レナ、一緒に来てくれないの？
After hearing that, even I grew puzzled. Hadn't I just suggested all three of us hang out together?
だってレナは馬になんて蹴られたくないもん。
Rena, your eyes got replaced with eyebrows again.
だから二人っきりでどうぞ。あ、お土産買ってきてくれると嬉しいな。はう。
She's shipping us. Boom! Mion blushes vigorously. I was slow to react because I didn't understand what Rena was getting at, but seeing Mion's face imbued with a color after a long time, my heartbeat grew faster for a moment. No, it wasn't what I implied when I was suggesting the idea, but depending on the point of view, wouldn't this be an invitation to a date?
いかん。ちょっと調子に乗りすぎたかも。
Indeed, after seeing it that way, I was overcome with embarrassment. But there was no way I could back out after coming this far. Ah, this is all for Mion's sake. Pull yourself together, Keiichi Maibara.
どうだ、ミオン。
Rena's such a real winner. Like, she knows how much we've both suffered this time, and she's like, I want them to be happy together.
あ、もちろん医者と親御さんにはちゃんと了解を取るつもり
You're
だぜ。
believing this is the tattoo twin. I think so too now, but I'm still hesitant.
あんまり無理はさせないつもりだから考えておいてくれよ。
わかった。考えておくね。
はう。みーちゃんが久々に可愛いよ。嬉しいな、嬉しいな。はうはうはう。
When are we going to get another set of tips? We haven't gotten the last set of tips for like 2 hours! 2.5 hours! I was just gonna get to 2 sets of tips and then call it a stream, but we still haven't gotten one! After that, we spent the day talking about harmless stuff that happened at school or in the neighborhood until it was evening. I felt like Mion had regained some of her spirit and acted a bit like she used to, so I was happy. After a few days, Mion had contacted me to say she was okay with my plan. And after spending a few more days to convince my folks and Mion's parents, we set off on a day's trip to a metropolis that had one of those bullet train stations.
うわー、しばらく見ないうちにここってすごく大きくなったんだね。
As soon as she stepped out of the station, Mion set eyes on a scenery sprawling with people and cars. She shared her feelings and excitement as she looked on admiringly. From what I heard, unless it's on very important business, Mion rarely gets to leave the village, let alone come out to a big city like this. Because of that, everyone she saw looked fresh and fascinating to her, and she pranced around merrily, almost like a child.
ねえねえ、ケイちゃん、これからどこに行くの？
そうだな。ミオンの好みから考えて、あそこはどうだ？
The place I was pointing to, one I had checked out in advance, was a massive, beautifully decorated game arcade that towered over a corner to the station's shopping square.
ふう、なかなか盛大に遊び回ったな。
面白かった。あんなにゲームで遊んだの、本当に久しぶりだよ。
As I sat down on the bench, Mion was gleefully draining her can of juice with a huge smile. That expression was unlike the gloomy one Mion had worn at the hospital. Next to me was the Mion I knew well. Earlier, we'd had a blast, vowing to conquer all the game consoles in the vicinity, and made quite the ruckus without caring about the people watching. Mion was enjoying herself playing on consoles she wasn't used to, and had gone on a rampage, laughing out loud, getting worked up, and challenging me to matches. Although I couldn't help thinking about what ifs as I was playing with her. About how much fun it would have been if only it weren't just the two of us, but also Rena, Satoko, and Rika-chan as well. I'm sure Mion must have been thinking the same thing. Which is also why I outdid myself, making so much noise trying to battle the loneliness when I had realized.
Nah, Mion.
Nani, Kei-chan?
With faint drops of sweat coating her forehead, Mion turned to face me with a broad smile. Mion's cheerfulness was most likely just her being considerate towards me for having brought her here. If that was so, then I needed to do the same for her.
お前、全部初めてって言ってたけど、それ本当か？初プレイで2台もハイスコアに名前入れるなんて、とんでもない実力だぜ。
4台の間違いだよ、ケイちゃん。こういうのはセンスと勘、そして動体視力がものを言うのさ。普段の鍛錬を怠らなかった成果だよ。むしろケイちゃんはアドバンテージをひっくり返されたことを恥と思うべきだね。
おいおい、ちょっと待てよ。エアホッケーの時とか、あれ何？なんて後ろを指さして顔を向けた瞬間打ち込んできたの。
What is happening? You don't know where this is going. I don't either, but can we please get a save point soon? For like a tip section. Good lord, I normally end these streams after 2 hours. We're at hour 3.5, and I have work tomorrow.
まったくよ。
勝てば官軍、負ければ賊軍だよ。
Bad end kiss? Then the good end is gonna be where he gets stabbed? Seems weird. For the time being, it's alright if her well-being is a front. All I hope for is that someday, when this becomes real and she recovers her old cheerful self.
いやいや、それにしてもゲーセンも雰囲気が変わったよな。少し前ならタバコ臭くて暗いイメージだったけど、家族連れで遊びに来る人も結構いたからちょっと驚いたぜ。
そうだね。やっぱたまにはこういうのも楽しいよね。あ、今何時ぐらい
？5時くらいかな。
あー、じゃあ夕食まであと少しだね。どこかで食べて帰る？
そうだな。ファーストフードでハンバーガーなんてどうだ？
おお、いいね。あ、その前にちょっと失礼。
Mion said that and just stood up from the bench. I found it odd for a minute, but then I misunderstood her intention and...
店にもトイレはあるぞ。
Instead of a reply, I had empty cans thrown at me. Mion stuck out her tongue at me and left in a hurry. And after I watched her retreating figure, I plopped back down on the bench and looked up at the sky. The sky was pure blue and crystal clear, and it felt amazing. Everything seemed to be glowing, bathed in the brilliant summer sun. It was a good thing we came here. Mion also seemed to show signs of recovery.
そうだな。なんなら今度はいっそ東京にでも誘ってみるか。
It would be cheaper if she stayed at our new place there, but I feel like our parents may be concerned for a while. We still needed more time to go back to how it was.
そうなると泊まる場所も探しておかないとな。あとは。
Why, hello there.
こんにちは。
Oh? Wait, what the heck? Are you hearing something?
いやー、ごめんケイちゃん。
Is that actually you?
トイレ人いっぱいでさ。あ、結構待たせちゃったみたいだから飲み物買ってきた。
I waited for like 10 seconds.
どっちがいい？あれ、ケイちゃん寝ちゃったの？もうしょうがないな。女の子とのデート中に居眠りなんてエチケット違反だよ。ケイちゃん、もういつまで寝てるんだよ。ほら起きて。ケイちゃん。
What?
は？
Excuse me? What the heck is going on? Bad end? How? Okay, I now know why people don't like that ending, because it doesn't make any sense. At all. Shion couldn't have killed us, she died. Unless that's part of the new mystery. Well, you know what? At least I got my wish. We found a stop point for the stream. There are still 2 flippin' tip sections left after this. I don't know how. Wow, they really need to... They really need to put more checkpoints in this to give you clear points to save and quit, because wow, they did not do a good job dividing that up in this chapter. Mainly at the end. That was dumb. And why was that choice different from the other one? Why? They were the same thing. Ugh. Well, that's unfortunate that we're ending the stream on that dumb note, but, well, there we go. Thanks for watching. This was a tough one to get through. We will be streaming it again on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 days before Halloween. I sure hope we get through the rest of that stream, but since there's still 2 tip sections left, and we still haven't gotten to one, who the heck knows? If I can't get through it on Wednesday, I guess we'll be going through it on Thursday. If I can't get through it on Thursday as well, well, too bad. We're not playing it on Halloween. We'd have to finish it on November 1st, but there we go. This is kind of suffering from ending fatigue a little bit. I feel like this could have been significantly shorter because there's been a lot of repeat information and just Shion being a nutcase. We didn't need all that, but alright. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a great rest of your night, a good start to your week, and God bless everybody.